Okay, my mic was muted, but that's fine. Everything is gonna be perfect and wonderful. Uh, few words of warning. One, I know I look like an incredible. Oh man, is that what I look like? Oh no, I look like a young man anyway, but I'm like 87 on the inside, and I don't know how to really work a computer. uh, I can like Google how to make something print, and that's about as far as it goes. So, if there's any technical difficulties, I mean that is on me, but it's also not. I'd rather find some other place to push that judgment. But so today, there's this YouTube channel called KFC UKI. That's like United Kingdom, Ireland, and JonTron actually covered this. He talked about their conspiracy videos, but he only talked about two of the episodes, and he only showed like maybe 5 minutes of footage from them and kind of riffed from there. And it was a good video, but I really wanted to see what the rest of the videos are like, so I'm gonna actually be watching through all of those today. Quick disclaimer: I do have COVID, so my voice is not exactly where I'd like it to be, but hopefully I can enunciate well enough that I am understandable. Now I actually have to like type in what we're actually doing here. I should have done this before I started the stream, but here we are, and you get to hear the sound of me typing. Oh. I'm pretty sure I spelled conspiracies right, but we may never know. I'm gonna guess that's right, and if someone asks, and if it's wrong and someone tries to correct me, it's an inside joke. Alright, so I really don't know what this YouTube channel is about for the most part. I mean, you can look at their videos, and I'll stop the music. You can look at their videos, and they have they're on season 2 of something called Wingmen. They have a show called Side Hustles, and honestly, Wing Fling, they get some pretty good views actually. I mean, this might be really entertaining, but for today, we're just gonna click on we're just gonna check out, their mysteries show. So strap yourselves in, I suppose.
Yeah.
And sorry, I just love this guy's face. He's just completely over it. Like, he just does not want to be there. Uh, but let me know if the volume's not right. Let me actually. It's still like, having been covered by JonTron, you'd think that everyone would have been watching this, but it still doesn't have that many views, honestly. It's interesting. I don't want to read the comments because I haven't seen most of what they're talking about, so I'm interested in in what the talking points are going to be. As the title of the stream and of this video shows, they will be discussing flat Earth versus Hollow Earth. So, one of I love how the Wikipedia article shows up to correct, like, oh, the flat Earth isn't real, but they don't say anything about the Hollow Earth. So it does kind of imply that Wikipedia is biased there. They may they may have done their own studies into the Hollow Earth and found it to be irrefutable, perhaps. So, gotta click out of a couple things here. Just behind the scenes, getting things in order. This might look better in full screen, so I'm just gonna do that. And I don't know, let's just jump into it, as my man Philly D always says.
Behave yourself.
You're stopping the evolution of the world. People
what?
are evolving. We're evolving with technology.
Into?
People like you.
Now hold on. I was just gonna pause it to talk about this guy's whole thing, with, oh shoot, actually, here we go. I actually have something. Perfect. People like you, He's got the whole thing going on. Like, he does not seem to have moved on with the rest of the world as far as fashion trends go. And I'm not one to talk about fashion. I'm wearing a Triforce jacket that my mom got me for Christmas 2 years ago. But I was just going to comment on that whole side of things. But my man's just said people like you. Obvious connotations that hopefully we don't have to talk about. But let's continue.
Are stopping the mind from growing.
Some of the world's great.
I want to see how we get there, because that's one of the best ways to tell someone that they're stupid. People like you are preventing the mind from growing. So I don't know. Let's see how we get to that point.
Greatest mysteries include the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Were they real? What really goes on in the Bermuda Triangle? But more importantly, what are the KFC 11 herbs and spices? I have tried everything.
So obviously, this is all somehow marketing for KFC. I don't understand what exactly they think they're getting from this. I mean, it's interesting, but it doesn't make me want Kentucky Fried Chicken.
In my power to get KFC to tell me what the 11 herbs and spices are, but with no avail. So, KFC have changed the game and they've sent me to meet some people with their very own mysteries and try to get them talking.
I do find it interesting in the title and in the video they keep saying mysteries, but those aren't really mysteries, they're conspiracies. The mystery would be, what is the shape of the Earth? And the answer is, of course, an oblique spheroid. It's been answered, for a few thousand years, I feel like, but the conspiracy is the flat Earth versus the hollow Earth. But I wonder if that is like a word that'll get you in trouble on YouTube. I know there are certain gamer words that we aren't allowed to say, but I think that may be why they're saying mystery instead of conspiracy.
Crop circles to secret societies and many other mysteries, I've been sent to try and find out if these people can find a common ground which leads to the truth.
I think the common ground between a chasm and another chasm may be an even lower point. I don't know that you can take something that's not true and something that's also not true and somehow get the truth from that. I don't think that's the actual point of the show. I think the actual point of the show is to, point and laugh at these people. But, yeah, we'll see how civil this discussion ends up being. Alternative Earth.
Hi, my name's Clint.
This guy is the flat earther. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I really thought the other guy was the flat earther. Of course, I already saw JonTron's video, but that was like a few days ago. I don't remember the minutia of the video, but I'm really surprised that this guy is the flat earther. I really thought he'd be the hollow earther, and it would be because he watched Journey to the Center of the Earth a decade ago. But, okay. I'm already, my expectations have already been subverted, and I hear that's a good thing. I hear that's a mark of true cinema.
From the East End of London, and I believe that the world is flat.
Why is his arm broken in this shot? Am I crazy, or was his arm not broken at the beginning? Like, you could, No, hold on. No, it looks like... Okay, it was broken the whole time. I thought they got into a fight, and he did this afterwards, and the guy broke his arm.
Hi, my name's Clint. I'm from the East End of London, and I believe that the world is flat.
My name is Sylvester
Okay.
Campion. I come
I don't know what that pose is, but it's wonderful. He looks like a Zoolander, what do you call him? Extra. Like, he just looks like a background character from Zoolander. I don't know what this is meant to convey. It's really... I thought he was going to be doing, like, what do you call him? Like, crypto bros, like that sort of guy. The one who's just like, yeah, let me tell you how I make all this money. But I really don't know what this is supposed to be.
from a place called Leash.
He's so close. When you have a name like that, how much self-control does it take to not just put an H in there and just call yourself champion? And I mean, Sylvester Stallone, it could have worked. I mean, personally, with a surname like that, I would have just changed it to champion. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna move that a little bit. Whatever, it's fine.
from a place called Laois in Ireland, and I'm a hollow earther. And hollow earthers believe in that the Earth's core is made up of layers, sometimes of reptilians.
I was going to comment on the Earth is made of layers, which I believe most modern science would agree with. But I think he just said reptilians, so I'm going to pull it back a bit there.
Is made up of layers, sometimes of reptilians or animals, but most definitely to keep the Earth in substance in orbit with the rest of the planets.
Okay.
What? I'm going to need to pull him back there. I don't know what I may need to like pull out WordPad. Well, let me try closed captions. No, these are auto-generated. That's no help at all. I believe he said the Earth's core is made up of layers, some of which are reptilians, some of which are animals, which help to keep the Earth in orbit? I'm like 86% sure that's what he said, and it's very confusing, so I'm gonna hear him again.
Core is made up of layers, sometimes of reptilians or animals, but most definitely to keep the Earth in substance in orbit with the rest of the planets.
Okay. I'm genuinely confused here, because I listened to it a second time, and I am certain that he said the Earth's core, rather, not the rest of the Earth's core is made up of layers, which include reptilians, animals, those aren't the same thing, by the way, reptilians and animals, very, very separate categories of being. Reptilians, animals, other things, Lord knows what this man believes in, fungus, and that helps to keep the Earth in orbit. So let's see if he justifies his claims. This is his thesis statement. We need to see how he substantiates it. Why can I scroll down in full screen mode? Whatever.
Okay, so here we go. This one is going to be a bit juicy because we're talking about Earth.
Juicy chicken. Wait, what? I was gonna say juicy chicken, like maybe that's what he's going for, but he said it's gonna be juicy because we're gonna be talking about the Earth, well known for its juice. Orange juice, cranberry juice, pineapple juice, all sorts of juices. You know, they say that the juice runs the world, and Hollywood. I can't make that joke.
Two different types. Your theory is based on
A hollow Earth.
a hollow Earth, and your theory is based
I don't know that his theory is based on Hollow Earth so much as it is just Hollow Earth, but I could be wrong there.
on
Flat Earth.
the flat Earth. First question, who benefits from the theory that the Earth is solid and spherical?
That's actually a really good question to start out with. I'm really surprised. I thought because I watched John Tron's video and I thought he opened up with oh, do you like your chicken boneless or bone in? But that's actually a really good question. I've never had the opportunity, or rather misfortune, to sit down and discuss flat Earths with somebody face to face. But that's always something that I've wondered. What is the actual benefit of telling everyone that the Earth is spherical? Because it seems a lot more complicated to me to explain that to a child. But you know, we'll see what his answer is.
The ancient civilizations believed that the world was flat, and they also believed that the world was created for mankind.
Okay.
So we're at the centre of the universe. There isn't outer space. The benefit for them is to take away from the belief that we were created by God and that we were at the centre of everything, that the whole world is just for us.
There was a time.
That wasn't really an answer. I believe what he said could be boiled down to, I believe. What was that? Hold on, I'm gonna pull him back. I'm a slow thinker. All right, I consider myself, you know, of a sort of intelligence, by which I mean low. But I have to think things through a couple times before I fully form an opinion on them. But what I believe he just said is that the man, you know, the powers that be, benefit from the lie of the spherical Earth. It's not a sphere, but whatever. The people who benefit from the lie of the spherical Earth benefit because a spherical Earth implies that we weren't created by God. Personally, all right, I'm gonna let my bias show here. I do believe in God, and you know, I consider myself quite the devout individual. doesn't really jive with flat Earth for me. I don't really see the connection between the two. I'd actually, if I were, speaking to this man, I'd ask him what exactly he means by that. The Earth literally being the center of the universe wouldn't prove or disprove anything, really. It kind of feels like he has these two separate ideas that he's just put together. Like he happens to believe in God and he happens to believe in the flat Earth, and those have to work together somehow. I really don't know what he means by that, but we're gonna listen to it again.
And spherical. All the ancient civilizations believed that.
Also, what is ancient? Because people use that phrase a lot in discussions. They'll say, "Oh, well, the ancient people believed this," but people, and I could look this up, but you know what? I will. I'm gonna open it up in another. I have Firefox and Chrome open at the same time. First spherical Earth. Wow. Okay, that was around when I thought it was, I guess. The earliest documented mention of the concept dates from around 5th century BC, when it appears in the writings of Greek philosophers. Okay. So, yeah, about, we're getting close, we're getting there. To about 3,000 years ago, people figured it out that the Earth is actually a oblique spheroid. But I guess that's not ancient enough. It's fair. Everyone has their different levels.
The world was flat, and they also believed that the world was created for mankind.
That's another thing is a lot of people don't understand when people say the Earth is flat, they're not saying that like, oh, it's like a piece of paper just in space, but I think it's like if you picked a rock up and it had a flat top and then it had like the jagged bits underneath it. I think that's what a lot of them believe, but there's the obvious, like, well, what if I take a plane around the world? Why why does what should logically be behind me appear in front of me? And that's because of non-Euclidean geometry. But that's always a discussion to have. And I really want to see if he'll get into it, because there are people who believe that every single plane, like every commercial airplane, has special windows in it that make the Earth appear curved. It really is a weird thing to me. I've never been one for conspiracies. I mean, there are some that I believe where I'm like, yeah, maybe Lyndon B. Johnson had, JFK killed, but it doesn't really affect my life all that much, and it's not something that I could prove one way or the other, so not a big deal to me. But it really is weird when people tie themselves up in these conspiracies, and it's weird for me because he has made the claim that he believes in God, so you'd assume like, oh, well, if you were lacking something in your life, something that gave you purpose, wouldn't you fill that hole with religion? But he doesn't. He fills it with the conspiracy of the flat Earth, which is odd to me that you would tie yourself so closely to something so obviously funny. I don't know how else to say it. I find the flat Earth inherently funny, but I'll let him continue.
Okay. So we're at the center of the universe. There isn't outer space.
I like there isn't outer space as a conspiracy. There's no such thing as space. Like, it's just the Earth, and we have a sort of atmosphere, and that's all there is to existence. It reminds me of that what was that movie back in the day where they have the this like astronaut goes to Mars, and it turns out there's like little Mars people, and they believe the universe is like 14 kilometers wide. I cannot remember for the life of me what that movie is called, but that's what that sounds like when people say there's no such thing as space.
Okay. For them is to
also, don't do that. Don't be that guy in an argument. When somebody's explaining their perspective, don't sit there like rolling my eyes like, oh, can't believe this guy. Like, no, just let him talk. Like, it makes you look a lot more intelligent.
Take away from the
not to say that this guy is in any way intelligent. He believes in a hollow Earth, like
belief that we were created by God and that we were at the center of everything. The whole world is just for us.
He also doesn't. He says like, oh, they benefit from this by tricking us into believing that there's no God, but he doesn't explain how they benefit from that. So, you know, it's maybe they talked about that and they cut it out, but you know, I feel like that's the better step to understand there.
The time and in barbaric times where people believed in such atrocity that the world is flat and it's not round, we haven't got a universe.
Atrocities? When they believed in such atrocities? Maybe English isn't his first language. He actually, did he say he was from like France or Germany or somewhere? One of them European countries. One of them Europes. Go back up. He just described back in barbaric times when people believed in such atrocities.
Of everything, the whole world is just for us.
There was a time in barbaric times where people believed in such atrocity that the world is flat and it's not round, we haven't got a universe. It's a very self-indulgent way of thinking to think we are the only thing in the universe.
You use the phrase saying
That's fair. That was actually a kind of a reasonable thing to say. That it is very self-centered to think that we are all there is to existence. I don't usually follow that line of thinking when people use that to say, oh, well, obviously, obviously, there has to be aliens. Otherwise, you know, I mean, there has to be. But you know, that was a fair thing to say, I think. But he did, during debates, don't do that where you're like, well, yada, 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 a blah, blah, a do-a-do. Like, you know, that whole, like, that body language of, like, I'm a lot smarter than you. You know? Just don't do that. This guy, I like the flat earth guy more. He seems more down to earth. But he seems like I could actually have a conversation with him.
It's a very self-indulgent way of thinking to think we are the only thing in the universe.
you use the phrase saying years ago they were barbaric.
Yes.
So were the people barbaric that built pyramids? They had
Yes, actually. Because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about the definition of the word barbaric, but let me just, yeah, savagely cruel, exceedingly brutal. Something about this guy here, you can't, I don't know that you can see my mouse. There you go. Sounds bad, but personally, I believe that this man should have a better grasp on what slavery is. And yes, the Egyptians used slaves to build the pyramids. They were excessively barbaric, as were most cultures before, like, 1950.
Yes.
So were the people barbaric that built pyramids? They had technology that we don't have. Similarly,
No, they had ropes and slaves. It's technology that, well, unfortunately, we have both nowadays, but we have access to both of those technologies nowadays.
today we have technology that they don't have. So could we say we're smarter than them? Of course not. It's just
Actually, this is something I find really interesting. Largest pyramid in the world. No. The modern pyramid. I was looking for the... There we go. It is by some measures the 10th... Oh, it's only the 10th tallest pyramid? Wow. No, I thought this was the biggest pyramid. Okay, I'm wrong. This guy's right. They have technology that we didn't have. They built bigger pyramids than we can build these days. Then again, theirs wasn't a Bass Pro Shop, so... You know, modern humans stay winning.
our technology is different. That's all it is.
Next up, when did you discover your belief
I didn't catch the last
about
bit he said there.
Earth?
Technology that they don't technology that we don't have. Similarly, today we have technology that they
Whoa, I just realized this guy on the right looks like Macaulay Culkin. Look at him making that face. He looks exactly like Macaulay
they
Culkin.
had technology that we don't have. Similarly,
That looks exactly like Macaulay Culkin there. And maybe I'm just racist and I can't tell white people apart, which I kind of am. But
today we have technology that they don't have. So could we say we're smarter than them? Of course not. It's just our
that's something I think about like all the time, is the fact that the average human being nowadays probably isn't as smart as the average human being like 200 years ago. I mean, like, yeah, you bring someone from like, what is that, 1822? I forgot what year it was, but you bring someone from 1822 to the modern day, they probably won't understand Twitter, but I feel like that makes them smarter, because I feel like the average person back then, barring, obviously like, the disease that we're ridden with these days, but our bodies have evolved to deal with. Aside from that, I feel like the average person in 1822 would be better equipped to live in the modern age than a modern human being such as myself. I'm a gamer. I'm at my computer. I read comic books. You can see here. I probably wouldn't survive in 1822. So maybe they were smarter than us. Doesn't mean that they had technologies that we don't have.
Technology is different, that's all it is.
Next up, when did you...
There was no conclusion to that. I mean, I guess it was just sort of a question answer, but there was really no conclusion to that. Weird.
Other than him? Of course not. It's just out.
Also, didn't he... The initial question was, who benefits... Weird. His initial question was, who benefits from telling us that there's a spherical Earth? And then the flat earther answered, and the hollow earther didn't. The hollow earther just criticized the flat earther's answer. That was weird. I assumed it would be, here's a blanket question, and these two would probably agree. I mean, maybe. Obviously, this guy believes in a human-centric worldview, and the other guy doesn't. But that would be an interesting conversation, is watching the two of them debate over who benefits from lying to us, the evil globo homo lying to us about the spherical Earth.
That's all it is.
Next up, when did you discover your belief about Earth and what convinced you? Let's go for Hollow Earth first.
Oh, well, I grew up in a very strong Catholic background where I was from in Ireland, and my mother was a strong Hollow Earth believer. She kind of swayed me away from the Lord. I started reading things about...
She kind of... Did he say dissuaded me? Or swayed me? Like, moved me? Say his grandmother moved him away from God and toward Hollow Earth? I gotta listen to that again.
Background where I was from in Ireland, and my mother was a strong Hollow Earth believer. She kind of swayed me away from the Lord. I started reading things about like Halley's comets and things like that, and that brought me on to Edward Halley and his discovery of Hollow Earth, and all of it just made sense.
You notice he was gonna do that thing that like intellectuals do, where they're like, oh yeah, I was reading some Isaac Newton, haven't you heard? Like, I don't even have any, all my nonfiction books are on the shelf out there, but I'd be like, oh yeah, me and my buddy Albert Einstein, you might have heard of him. He was doing that thing. I don't know if everyone's had that happen to them before, but I've known a lot of people who who do that, where they refer to scholars by their first name.
Brought me on to Edward Halley and his discovery of Hollow Earth, and all of it just made sense.
And yourself?
That's the question, though. That's the question, is why did it make sense to you? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear how... Because obviously, like, his grandmother was telling him, day in and day out, oh boy, you got to be reading about the Hollow Earth. You stay away from the Bible. You read the Hollow Earth. But I don't even know like how that works. how you indoctrinate a child into Hollow Earth. I mean, I'm kind of glad I don't know, I suppose. But that's the interesting part. Is like, hey, did you ever think this is stupid? That would be my question, is, hey, have you ever just sat there and realized, does this make me sound like an idiot? But...
Flat Earth, I found out about that by chance. I was on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's a bit loud. That's right next to the microphone, so that's on me. But this man, he gets his information on the shape of the Earth from Instagram. So, we're off to a good start here.
There was a picture of flight paths.
They keep showing this guy like yawning and rolling his eyes and whatnot. I'm totally on the flat Earth guy's side. This guy's being rude.
And it's quite rude to make noise when you yawn.
Sorry. See, he puts... Wait, what? It's quite rude to make noise when you yawn. That's just yawning, though. But he's clearly like... Hold on. The thing happened. He did the thing and it made me do the thing. But, that's a bit, he's clearly, like, putting it on, but it's still like, it's rude to make noise when you're yawning. No, it's not. That's just yawning. He's just like, oh, it's rude to make noise when I'm talking. But that's not what he said. But you know. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're both in the wrong. They're both idiots. One believes in flat Earth and the other believes in hollow Earth. But
there was a picture of a flight path, and it said you can't get a plane from South America to South Africa without going up through.
There's no straight flight path as such.
Exactly, without coming all the way up the map, the
Yeah.
globe, as we see it, and then coming back down again.
Yeah.
That's
what? You can't get from South America to South Africa without going up and coming back down again. My man's, that's how a plane works. I don't know if that's what he meant to say, but that's how a plane works. It goes up and then it comes back down again. That's how, I mean, personally, you know, I haven't been on every plane in the world. I've flown Southwest. You know, I've flown Delta. I don't think I've flown United. But wait, no, that's a credit card. But on every plane I've ever been on, it goes up and then it comes back down. That's my personal experience. My experiences are not universal. Everyone has led their own lives, but that's just me. That's how I feel about the situation. I don't think that's what he meant. I think he means you have to like go north and then south, even though on a paper map it looks like you should be going straight, and that's because it's a paper map. That's the surface of a sheet of paper is Euclidean geometry. Spherical geometry is something very different. If you go on a straight, if you go straight, take a 90-degree angle, and then take another 90-degree angle on a sphere, eventually, with how far apart you walk, that'll make a perfect triangle. Despite the fact where it's like, oh, I should have to make another turn before to make it a perfect square, but it's not. It's a sphere. That's how it works. Spheres aren't paper. A sphere can never be perfectly represented on a paper map. So, yes, when you use a flat map, things work as if the world was flat. So
sparks off my curiosity to find out, is this right?
How can it go up and down on the globe, but straight
And
across
you don't think that in a world where it's such an amount of pride to be a pilot, and there's hundreds of thousands of pilots in the world.
You know, pilots that believe the world's flat.
You're saying that this secret of the Earth is flat.
It's not a secret.
All the
mate.
pilots go through a test, and they go, now you can't tell anyone.
Do you know what map they use to plan their flight paths?
Enlighten me.
A flat Earth map.
So, the next question.
wait, can we go back to focus on that? What is he talking about? He's like, that's his gotcha. What does he mean? Do you know what map they use? Does he mean they use a normal flat map? Because my mans, I use Google Maps whenever I need to go somewhere. It says nothing to the surface. I got bumpy hills when I got to go down to Lago Vista. That doesn't mean that. I'm genuinely confused by that. Is that part of his conspiracy where all pilots use like flat maps? Because that would, well, I'm starting to sound like him. Every map is flat, but does he mean that when they plan their flights, he believes that they use... Wait, does he think that if, from his point of view, does he think that if the world were a sphere, then when they planned their flights, they would... I don't even have anything spherical in my room to like use as an example, but does he think that if the world were a sphere, then pilots would be pulling out like a spherical globe out of their pocket and just putting it there and be like, oh, well, we're in LA and we need to get to Chicago, so if I spin the globe like this, that might make it work out. That's just, we use paper maps because they're easier. I'm genuinely confused by what he meant by that, but it's really funny.
To plan their flight paths?
Enlighten me.
A flat Earth map.
So, the next question.
I'm sorry. He just says it. He's so convicted. Or convicted? He's so convinced regardless. It's a very... He's got such a satisfied look on his face. Did you ever get into an argument with like that one girl in elementary school, and you say like, oh, well, you have to do this, and then she's like, teacher said I didn't have to do that. Like, that's the look that he had on his face. It was scary, man.
They try to plan their flight paths.
Enlighten me.
A flat Earth map.
Look at the grin on that man's face. He's got it all figured out. The world makes sense to him, and I desire to have that sort of peace within myself. Look at that.
So the next question is for you.
This guy, I love this guy. He just cuts in, he's just sorry, the freeze frames, they're all really good. But I love this guy. He's just like, so just moves on to the next thing. Like nothing even happened. Like that man didn't just walk in here with they use a flat Earth map.
Plan their flight paths.
Enlighten me.
A flat Earth map.
So the next question is for you to start off with. What is inside Earth? You believe it's a hollow Earth?
Okay, we already know this one though. He believes that there's lizards, animals, and other things that keep the Earth in orbit. We already know this one. Move on.
Yes.
What is inside the Earth?
It's full of layers, and we are on the outer crust.
Yes, the Earth does indeed have layers. We've got I failed third grade geology, but there are layers.
And we are on the outer layer of what hollow Earth is. And there are 3 other layers that Haley believed. And they've only dug 8 miles.
Right, okay.
I mean? That's as far down
How
as they've
far
ever
can you go? Do you know?
around 4,000 miles to the core.
He just said we've only dug 8 miles. And then he goes to, yeah, there's about 4,000 miles. Like, what? Why is he so, I need to look that up. Is convicted the right word? Sorry, you know what? Looking things up doesn't make you stupid. Not looking things up and saying it anyway makes you stupid. Convicted. No, that's not the right word. What do I mean? I need to look this up. There's a word that I know. What is it called, man? You know what? This bit has gone on too long. But the point is he's so convinced that the world is it 4,000 miles like long or deep, and then there's another 4,000 miles. I don't know what he means, but he's very convinced of this one specific number right after saying we've only dug 8 miles, as if like, oh, they can't know what's in the center of the Earth. They've only dug 8 miles. But I know what's in the center of the Earth. You know, disregard the fact that we've only dug 8 miles.
Core. My argument is far down.
How far can you go? Do you know?
Around 4,000 miles to the core. My argument is still plausible because we haven't been to the center of the Earth, and there's.
Well, hold on. My man's just pulled out well, you can't prove me wrong. This is the classic, the lady with the turtles. I don't know. I might sound like an idiot here, but there's an old story where a lady is like, oh, I know what the universe is. The universe all takes place on the back of a sea turtle. And I'm like, oh, well, what's the sea turtle on? She's like, oh, that sea turtle is on the back of another turtle, and it's turtles all the way down. And it's like, well, you can't prove me wrong. Prove the space turtle wrong, man. That's my theory. Bring me on this KFC show. I imagine they get like free KFC for life or some sort of monetary, compensation. But bring me on this show. I'm the turtle guy. I believe that the Earth is turtles all the way down. I believe in the turtle Earth. All right, that's my new thing. That's my bit. I'm going to be changing my profile picture to that of a turtle. And I'll be dressing like Mike Myers in Master of Disguise from the Turtle Club scene.
There's so much we don't know about our world at the moment. Do you believe?
Sure. That's applicable to like literally any theory, though. How does that back up your theory specifically? Again, disprove me on the turtle.
Satellites are up in the air.
I know they exist, but I can't say for sure how a satellite works. I can't claim to know.
Yeah, I know you can't. I am 100% certain that you can't tell me how a satellite works. I don't think you have that sort of capability up there. I don't want to call him stupid, but they're both very stupid.
I don't think I need to say anymore. The man's never heard of satellites.
So now you're talking about...
He's such a jerk. He's such a jerk. I love him. I don't think I need to say anything more. The man's never heard of a satellite. That's not what he said, but it's a really funny response.
Lights are up in the air.
I know they exist, but I can't say for sure how a satellite works. I can't claim to know something.
I don't think I need to say anymore. The man's never heard of satellites.
So now you're talking about satellites.
This guy knows. He's like, yeah, that's the good stuff. This is just modern, not Maury. This is the modern Jerry Springer show. You just bring on two idiots and make them fight. It's been a thing for years now to just do that. It's amazing. That's what what is it, like Blood Sports, all the YouTube drama. That's all that is. It's just modern Jerry Springer. Wait, I'm thinking of Jerry Springer, right? Okay, yeah, no, I'm thinking of Jerry Springer. I got him mixed up with Jerry Maguire.
I don't think I need to say anymore. The man's never heard of satellites.
So now you're talking about satellites being in space. The temperature of space is far too cold for those materials to be up in space without completely being deteriorated and destroyed.
I feel like we can look into this one. What are satellites made of? Satellites are made of aluminum. Satellites are made of aluminium, which burns at 660 degrees Fahrenheit. They don't say anything. Okay. How cold is space? Near Earth. The average temperature of outer space near Earth is roughly 50.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, for any UK viewers, that's about 10 degrees Celsius, which, I live in Texas. It's a bit, it's bright out today. I can show you. Look at how bright that is. That's the actual sun trying to melt us. So, 50 degrees Fahrenheit to me is a pretty nice day, honestly. I can go out dressed like this and not die. This man thinks that if you bring a can of soda pop made out of aluminium into 50 degrees Fahrenheit, it will deteriorate. The physical materials will deteriorate because they're not built for that kind of weather. I just saw the guy's face. He's so disappointed.
Cold for those materials to be up in space without completely being deteriorated and destroyed.
You know this.
You can see the moderator's mind working of like, I really want to explain to him why this isn't true, but then we don't have a show, so I guess I've just got to let this happen.
To be up in space without
I want
anymore. The man's never heard of satellites.
So now you're talking about satellites being in space. The temperature of space is far too cold for those materials to be up in space without completely being deteriorated and destroyed.
You know this.
That's so good.
Do you believe in... Because I've done the research on it.
Oh, you've been there?
No.
So you're just believing someone else who told you that,
This is
that
what
it's
you
cold
believe.
up there?
I don't believe this. You do.
I don't believe it's too cold. I believe we've got...
You're talking about satellites in space.
Okay.
Which therefore means that you believe in space. I don't believe in space. I've had to research what you...
Okay, so he doesn't believe in space. I don't know why he doesn't believe in space. Space is just kind of nothing, by the way. You have Earth, and then its atmosphere, and then between that and the moon, there's nothing except for gravity, which isn't really a thing. It's just kind of a force. Space is just... It's a very human way to go about explaining it. Space is the nothingness in between things. You know what I mean? There's space, the material, whatever, that is space, exists on Earth in between, atoms. There's space in between atoms. We call it space because that's what it is. It's just space. Like between these two hands, there's air, all right? There's oxygen and nitrogen and you know, molecular things, but space is just space. I don't know why you wouldn't believe in that, but anyway, he doesn't believe in space. And he believes that they've lied to us about space, that they've lied to us about what the temperature of space is, and that they messed up because the things that satellites are made of can't survive in the made-up temperature that they gave us. Which is just so nonsensical as a statement. He thinks there's this massive cover-up of the flat Earth, and yet they messed up. They gave us the wrong temperature because aluminium cannot survive in 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It will deteriorate. The material just cannot exist in that. This guy's looking at it. Why is he looking at the camera? It's very frightening. I'm sorry. I can't get over aluminium will deteriorate in anything below 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Therefore means that you believe in space. I don't believe in space. I've had to research what you believe so I can make points against you. Understand?
I'm sure you're a very intelligent guy.
I don't know why he thinks that. I personally, you know, I'm not there with him. I don't agree on that point.
Make points against you. Understand?
I'm sure you're a very intelligent guy.
Don't patronize me.
After all, you're a flat earther, right?
Yeah.
I'd like.
I don't know what that look was meant to imply. I'm sure you're very intelligent. After all, you're a flat earther. What did that mean?
If you don't mind, take a look at that, and you can show it to the camera as well.
Hey, you crack on. You've got it out of your pocket. You show the camera.
This is automobiles, cars and lorries that are obviously man-made as well. You believe in cars, I take it. Just a yes or no would be great. We can move on then.
I do. Mate, I don't...
This guy's just being a prick. There's no need for that. Come on, man. You're just as stupid. This guy believes that there are lizards and animals and other things in the center of the Earth that control our orbit. I'm like 90% sure that's what he said at the beginning. And he's calling this other guy an idiot, and he's just taking it. This guy looks like, I don't know, this guy, he looks like he could probably take him. I mean, just, oh man, he's wearing like lady boots. Yeah, this guy could definitely take Macaulay Culkin over here.
I don't have to answer.
You believe in cars.
I'll do the questions.
Behave yourself.
You're stopping the evolution of the world. People.
What?
What? Where did that come from? Where was he going with the cars? Was he going to show him a picture of the Earth and be like, do you believe in the Earth then? Because, I mean, that might be a silly thing for you to do, man.
Are evolving. We're evolving with technology.
Into?
People like you are stopping
And there we are. Then we're back to the people like you. I don't like that as a statement.
the mind from growing.
Things got a little heated when we brought these two idiots together and made them debate their worldview. So we broke the tension with some chicken questions. Let's listen to the chicken questions, I suppose. I won't be of much help here. I'm not a fried chicken expert, so.
Bucket or burger?
What? Bucket or burger? Does he mean, do you want a bucket of chicken or a chicken sandwich? Because maybe that's a UK thing, but I have never referred to when you get a chicken fillet. Okay, that's why they call it Chick-fil-A, is because it's a chicken fillet. But when you get a fillet of chicken and you put that in between bread, you know, a bit of tomato, bit of lettuce, some mayonnaise, or if you're inventive, you can make your own sort of like zesty sauce. I call that a sandwich. I think maybe they call it a burger in the UK, and that may be what the question is.
Burger.
Oh, bucket.
Bucket, yeah?
100%.
Okay, no worries.
Yes.
He's just saying that because the other guy said burger. He just wants to hate him at this point, and I don't know why. Because I mean, neither of them are they're not Neither of them are very intelligent people. I'd assume.
Fillet or zinger?
Oh, zinger.
Yeah?
Well, hold on.
Bucket, yeah?
100%.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Fillet or zinger?
Fillet or zinger? I'm not fat enough to understand these questions. I don't eat at KFC.
Oh, zinger.
Yeah?
Zinger.
Zinger, yeah? We've agreed on something. Bones or boneless?
Oh, boneless.
Boneless?
Boneless, yeah.
Bones.
Bones, yeah?
Yeah.
You gotta go. Okay, listen. There's no such thing as boneless wings. Those are chicken nuggets. You're kidding yourself, all right? Bones, they give the meat flavor, all right? That's why a T-bone steak, my favorite steak, you get so much of the flavor from cooking it with that bone. Don't ever cook your chicken. Don't ever cook a steak without a bone in it, because, man, it'll change your life, all right? You switch over to a T-bone steak and you do it now.
Okay, fair.
Can't beat a chicken wing and a bones in, can you?
Gravy or beans?
Gravy.
Well, I just realized it all makes sense. He eats boneless chicken because it's hollow.
Gravy, yeah.
Okay, we're all good then. Okay, so I'm going to want you to pitch
What was the
me...
last question? Do you like gravy?
We're all good.
Bones in, can you?
Gravy or beans?
Gravy.
Gravy or beans? What kind of a question is that? I put my gravy in my beans, man. I don't do that. It sounds disgusting. But is he saying, like, because you take the drumstick and you dip it in the gravy, yeah? If you don't do that, I just sounded like a madman. But is he suggesting that the alternative to that is dipping your chicken in beans? They're from the UK. Maybe that's a thing. Like like I know the beans on toast meme, but I'm convinced it's a meme. You cannot tell me that people actually do that in the UK. There's no way they actually have that for breakfast. It's my conspiracy. Bring me onto the show. I'm the beans on toast doesn't exist guy.
Gravy, yeah.
Okay, we're all good then. Okay, so I'm going to want you to pitch me your theory and then you to pitch me your theory with no interruptions from each other, and that level of respect will stay up there.
Wait, hold on. Shouldn't that have been what happened 6 minutes ago? Hey, give me the rundown on what flat Earth is. Give me the rundown on what hollow Earth is, and then we'll see where the theories differ and go from there. Why can't there be a flat Earth, but you can dig into it, and that's where the sphere is? And when we go into space, it's like looking in a spoon, and it just convinces us that the Earth is a sphere.
Water
That's my theory. I'm Spoon Earth guy. Bring me onto the show.
is a point I make quite often when I'm talking to people about the flat Earth. The surface of water, when it's a liquid, is always flat and it maintains that flatness. And beneath the surface of water, when it's a liquid, it takes the shape and form of whatever it's put inside, whatever container it's in. The rivers and the seas and the oceans, they're all inside containers. So the question is, if the surface of the water is flat because it maintains its characteristic, how do we live on a globe? That means you're...
What? I'm actually confused. If water... If the surface of water is always flat and water retains the shape of its container, how do we live in a globe? What? I need to actually, hold on. I'm gonna, water in space videos. Oh, not even, I won't look up water in space because this guy doesn't believe in it. I typed in water and zero gravity like I'm Scooby-Doo. Hold on, let me see if this is a good one. Oh, I know this guy. Does he do it? Yeah, he does it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Check this out, Flat Earth Man. Look at this. Look at that. Why is this video so Low resolution. Check this out. Look what this guy does.
Okay, so here's
Okay,
a
no,
soaking
no, no.
wet washcloth.
That's not what I was looking for. Oh, here he goes.
It's becoming a tube of water.
Yeah, you see that? You see those little bubbles
The water's all over my hands. In fact, it rings
going
out.
around?
Okay, so the experiment worked.
Oh, his hands look disgusting. That's really gross.
Water into
No,
this
look at
washcloth.
the. This isn't like the whole point I was making, but look at that. You can see it's like a. It's very clearly not flat. It's a bubble. Which, by the way, we can have bubbles on Earth too. Soap is a liquid, but you can make soap bubbles, and it can. Maybe liquids and water are a different thing to this guy. I keep bumping my mic. I'm sorry, but not only that. What if I had a cup? All right, I know this is a crazy idea, but if I had a cup, okay, and the cup was shaped like a sphere, and I filled that sucker up with water. I don't know why this is my water filling motion, but if I filled up that sphere with water, or even like, a wine glass, it's all the surface, and if you look at the bottom of a wine glass, because really in space there's no, well, I don't want to say space, this guy doesn't believe in space. Without gravity, there's no such thing as up or down, so there's no top or bottom to this wine glass. So if I look at the bottom of a wine glass, it's curved, right? And let me see, I'm having a hypothetical argument with this guy. He wouldn't accept this, most likely, but the surface of that wine glass is curved, and if we had two of those in that container, it would be a sphere. Now you may say, oh, but the Earth doesn't have a container, it's the Earth. The container is the gravitational force of the Earth, and that's what makes it curved. That argument, that made no sense. That was odd. Let's bring him back.
And the oceans, they're all inside containers. So the question is, if the sea takes and it maintains that flatness, and beneath the surface of water, when it's a liquid, it takes the shape and form of whatever it's put inside.
He said that beneath the surface of the water, it takes the shape of whatever container it is, but it's all the surface of the water. You just flip it around, because gravity doesn't well, obviously, there's the gravity of the sun, and then there's the minor effects of gravity that extend out for an incredibly long distance, and we know that, and that's true. But the point is, in a relatively zero gravity environment, it's all the surface of the water. Oh, that's just so weird. That's just a really weird thing to say.
Whatever container it's in. The rivers and the seas and the oceans, they're all inside containers. So
the rivers and the seas and the oceans, they're all inside containers. What? Okay, so I think he means like, oh, if we dried out the Earth, if there was no water, there would be like one big canyon where the ocean is supposed to be. And that canyon is essentially like just a weird bowl. And if you fill a normal bowl with water, it's flat. So how come when you fill the big bowl with the ocean, it's a sphere? And it's almost like the Earth is a lot bigger than a bowl. But I could be wrong about that. Again, I'm not a scientist. Do not accept anything I say as scientific fact.
So the question is, if the surface of the water is flat because it maintains its characteristic, how do we live on a globe?
Has he ever seen waves? I think he may come from like Ohio. Or no, he's British. I was gonna say he may come from a landlocked state, but obviously not. He's from the UK. I don't know if I'm like trying to help anyone who watches this and maybe like falling into a flat Earth thing, who came in here just to be like, oh hey, you don't know anything about the flat Earth. This is them typing, not like doing their hands like an evil person. But water isn't flat. I don't. Whatever.
That means you're now saying that at some point the surface of the water begins to curve, yeah, which is.
Yeah. Extended big enough, water begins to curve. Like the Earth does eventually.
Where?
It begins. Right. Okay. That was a bit monologue there, and I think you've rehearsed it very well.
Do you want it in short?
No, I get your grasp. I'm not a flat earther man. I can process things very quickly.
That's it's really unfortunate because that's a good like snappy like, oh, you know, don't worry, I'm not stupid. I'm not a flat earther. You know, that's funny, but you are a hollow earther. Like that's not. I wouldn't even say that's not much better. It's just equally stupid.
Oh, for goodness sake.
The second fact is the positioning of the stars. Why do we see the same stars year in, year out, every night?
Why do we see the same stars year in, year out? My man's because you're in the same place. What? What? Why do we see the same stars? Because we're in the same... Well, I mean, like... I don't like thinking about this because it's scary, but the Earth is also rotating and spinning, and we're all flying through Earth. And yeah, in, like, 10,000 years, you know, Lord willing, we make it that long, the stars won't look the same as they do today. Which is a really scary thing to think about. We're just falling through space, you and me, and I can feel it. That's a Doctor Who reference. No. Why do we see the same stars? Because stars don't just disappear. They don't just leave. I'm trying to think. The Earth spins, you know, it rotates. And it's kind of like, here, I've got a swivel chair. I can show you. Okay, I almost banged my knee, but it's okay. If, like, my webcam is a star. Oh, I can't see the star. Oh, there's the star again. I can't see the star. Oh, there's the star again. That was a really stupid demonstration. I don't know what he means.
Positioning of the stars. Why do we see the same stars year in, year out, every night? Rotating around the North Star. If we're constantly travelling, and we have been travelling, across a constantly expanding, ever expanding, edgeless universe, if you go onto YouTube and you put in time-lapse night sky,
Right.
you can see it.
But isn't that the Earth moving?
No, it's the stars moving. If it was...
I'm sorry, I thought this was his proof. You've betrayed me, sir. I thought this was his proof. I thought this was the point where he's like, oh, here, it all comes together. But he's just throwing it out there. My proof is that the stars are moving, not the Earth. That's your thesis. That's not a proof. That's a hypothesis. That is not the evidence.
The Earth moving. Let's say it was that. Then that would mean that we're fixed and we're just rotating. We're not doing three different types of rotation. No, we're not.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
Come on.
Sorry.
Yeah, this guy, he's playing it up. He's doing a, he is, I don't use Twitch, but I believe this is, he's fallen for the react harder meme. He's very clearly like, oh, I have to feel really smart about myself, so let me just giggle at everything this other guy says. And he doesn't realize that he sounds just as stupid.
That one just hit me
Take a breath,
over here.
Take it.
People that fake laugh have fake personalities.
It's cool. It's your chance to shine. Why is Hollow Earth real?
I'm blown away by the fact that we've not reached the core. It's just something that hasn't been proven.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because bedrock is really hard. Where do you think lava comes from? Like, when you get... I'm sure he believes in lava. Maybe he thinks it's just really spicy rock. But, no, when you go far down enough... sorry, hold on. I gotta... Had to mute. That was a disgusting sneeze. It definitely didn't sound like a cat. But you know, when you go down far enough, the rock becomes like, you know, superheated. And it's because we have a molten core. Or maybe vice versa. I honestly, personally, I don't really know how lava works. But, like, I don't know where he thinks lava comes from.
There's been a lot of scientific evidence towards a core being made of iron, nickel, and answer that. And I'm very open into
Okay, yeah, he thinks we have a core.
that. And I am very open to all
He's open to it, at least.
theories. Anything theoretical is interesting because it's somebody looking at something different. I don't see it on the same ball level as flat Earth, because people that have that are the founders of this, they're mathematicians, they're scientists,
Mate, you're waffling, sorry.
and they're people. No, well they are. It's
let's keep
in
the
the
rules,
book.
let's keep the
You
rules.
weren't supposed to interrupt. Control yourself, man. Clint, calm.
You interrupted him, man. He's pulling this card, man. People do this all the time. They try to rile you up. All right, when you're having a conversation, they try to rile you up, and then they can pull this card where they tell you to be quiet louder than you were speaking. And it's to make them seem like, oh, you're this wild beast that needs to be tamed. He's doing it right now, where this guy just was like, oh, well, you're not really explaining Hollow Earth. You're just kind of dancing around the idea of Hollow Earth. And he's like, mate, calm down, mate. Clint, you're being wild. And he's like, no, he's really not. You're just kind of, being a jerk here.
Down. You know. So it's things like that. You know.
Sorry. Right, okay. Right. Okay, well...
My man's jumped like 3 octaves for that laugh. That was amazing. And then it's relatable. It's relatable content. That would be me if I had to have a conversation face to face with these people.
Control yourself, man. Clint, calm down. You know. So it's things like that. You know.
Sorry. Right, okay. Right. Okay, well, let me wrap this one up by saying it's been a pleasure to have you both here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's genuinely been very, very interesting to hear both of your theories, and I'd like to remind you both that you have exactly the same amount of proof that they exist, and that is none. What we're going to do now is something
That's okay. All right.
that we do at the end of every single show. No matter how much animosity there is between two people, you still are human beings, and everyone should just get on. We can't shake hands.
No.
So, Clint, if you...
Hold on. That's it. Oh, that's the be all and end all, is we're all human beings and we have to respect each other. I don't gotta respect nobody. I get to laugh at them from this side of a computer screen. And it's a lovely, beautiful thing.
You wouldn't mind, with your good arm, grabbing this side of the bucket?
They never explained why he has a broken arm. Did the spherical Earth CIA agents come and well, it wouldn't be CIA. MI6? Did MI6 come and break his arm because he was getting too close to the truth? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. And if you wouldn't mind grabbing this side, please, Sylv. Way!
Oh, hold on. That's some real. You don't take the chicken away from the man. That's real. That's back in. I'm pretty sure this was written in the codes of chivalry back in the day. If you took a bucket of chicken from a man, that was worse than throwing the gauntlet down. That's like, you're not even worth dueling. I'm just gonna murder you tonight.
There it is. Flat earthers. Can't trust them.
Okay, you grab that sort of bucket. Smile down the camera.
He said flat earthers, but I read what he meant in his eyes when he said you can't trust them. He's a dirty, disgusting racist.
And please shake the bucket. Okay, well, that's the end of this episode.
You can tell there's not anything in the bucket. I like to imagine it's like the bones this guy left behind, and they're just shaking like a grease bucket with a couple of bones in there. Like, why are we touching this thing? Like, the second they took their hands out of there, they had to awkwardly do it on their pants, just oh, and it didn't come off, and they went to a sink. I don't know if you've ever gotten this kind of grease on your hands, where you go to a sink and the water just bounces off. That's what they had to do after touching that bucket. It looked disgusting.
Thank you very much for watching. Catch us again soon for another one. Maybe even more of these two. You never know, because there's got to be an answer somewhere. I've been Will Richards. We've been KFC. Thanks very much, guys. Look down the camera. Say goodbye.
That was...
Bye.
Bye.
That's it. There we go.
Bye,
Cheers.
mother.
Bye, mother. I'm fairly certain that he's 40 and he still lives with his parents. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I'm just saying there's a certain connotation. That was really interesting. Definitely going to be watching episode 2, which I don't think JonTron touched on at all. I hardly remember any of this from his video, but this was really interesting. Unfortunately, I would have preferred this to be like a half hour long, just unedited. Don't even moderate them. Just just throw them at each other, man. That would have been what I would have liked to see, but it's not what we got. Like I said, episode 2.
2 weekends.
Oh no. No, look at this guy. This poor guy. I don't want to talk about this guy. Anyway, I need to go get some more water. I'm running out. Probably, get some of my throat stuff taken care of. But this is looking to be something. I really like what's happening here. That's enough of the of the lovely music, because we're back. I should have taken that sip before I started before I started this again, but it's whatever. This one has considerably less views, and I feel like there may be some gold in here. This poor guy. Did he not know? Did he not know he was going to be on this show? Did they pull him? Oh man, where did they find this guy? This poor guy. I don't know why my first instinct is to read the comments. My goodness, I need a haircut. So does he, but you know, it all works out. But man, I don't even know what to say. Let's just get into this one.
2 weekends ago, there was a woman just dancing around naked inside of a crop circle.
All right, that's a reasonable place to begin.
Right?
She's like off her coconut, she was.
Off her
She was crazy. That lady was crazy.
coconuts. Some of the world's greatest mysteries include the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Were they real?
Oh, this is just the same opening. I was hoping he would have like a different thing he would say every episode.
What really goes on in the Bermuda Triangle, but more importantly, what are the KFC 11 herbs and spices? I have tried everything in my power to get KFC to tell me what the 11 herbs and spices are, but with no avail. So, KFC have changed the game and they've sent me to meet some people with their very own mysteries and try to get them talking. From crop circles to secret societies and many other mysteries, I've been sent to try and find out if these people can find a common ground which leads to the truth.
I'm
Crop
Pete,
circles.
I'm from Somerset. I film crop circles, and I believe...
No, this poor guy. You probably... What the heck? Probably don't even know what I mean. Just look at this guy, man. This guy. These crop circles are the one thing he has left. This is the face of a man who realized he was never going to really get what he wanted in life, settled for like a 6 out of 10, that divorced him and took everything, and now all he has left is the crop circles.
From Somerset, I film crop
He has the face of a guy who tells everyone that he hasn't given up yet, but he really has on the inside.
circles, and I believe some of them are not man-made.
Okay. Oh. Just, This guy looks like, this guy looks like Remy the Rat's older brother. Whatever the heck his name is.
Hi, my name's Dean. I'm from Somerset.
How is that exactly what I thought he was going to sound like? That was 100% like, hello, I'm Mr. Frog.
Design, create, and execute crop circles.
They say he designs, creates, and executes crop circles?
And I believe some of them are not man-made.
Hi, my name's Dean. I'm from Somerset. I design, create, and execute crop circles.
Okay, that was kind of like a... That's kind of like a baby's first resume way to say that. But, interesting. This man creates crop circles for a living, I'm guessing. I could be entirely wrong about that, though. Let's be fair to the man. He probably doesn't have a real job.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Will Richards, back once again with KFC for KFC Mysteries. This week we are talking about crop circles. You ready, gents? Let's get into it. What evidence supports your theory that crop circles exist?
Electrical interference.
He's got it figured out. I can't argue against that. Come on, man. This is unfair. They brought out the heavy hitters. I've got nothing to say against that. Electrical interference? It's the be-all and end-all. How am I supposed to... That's how you know. That's how you know there's crop circles. Well, obviously there are crop circles, but that's how you know they're from aliens. There's electrical interference. In general.
Car radar going off. Drone not flying properly.
Does he mean a car alarm? Is a car radar what people in the UK call a car alarm? You know, when you're just trying to unlock your trunk at like 9 p.m. People are just starting to wind down for that and it goes beep, you know, do they call that a car radar? He thinks that proves crop circles are real? Oh man, that's probably the car that made the crop circle.
I've seen some orbs. I filmed a crop circle.
I've seen some orbs!
Drone not flying. Electrical interference, car radar going off, drone not flying properly. I've seen some orbs.
Call in the New World Order, whatever their secret agents are, call them in. This man he knows about the orbs. He's seen them. I think they might... It's called the sun, but... Sorry, I'm caught up in that idea now. I love the idea of a... I love the idea of a guy who doesn't know what the sun is, so he sees it and he's just like, I've seen orbs. I've seen orbs. I've seen orbs. That's it. That's all he talks about is the orbs.
Filmed a crop circle this year and saw a couple of balls in the circle, and my car, basically, the radars just went and it wouldn't start.
The radars? Does he mean he has like a scientific radar in his car? And he saw the orbs and that made the radars go off. And then his car wouldn't start? Maybe it's because all your... maybe your car wouldn't start because all the radars are draining the battery, man. I don't know.
Couple of balls in the circle, and my car...
He said he saw a couple of balls in the circle. Here's how we know he was lying. He said orbs earlier, and now he's talking about balls. Those are entirely different types of sphere. Now, we have no clue. Like, the story is muddled now. We can't trust the word he says.
Basically, the radars just went and it wouldn't start.
Right.
So within 100, 200 yards from the crop circle, it come back on, but as I drove past, it went back off again.
Okay, and your belief is that the thing that's stopping that is most likely extra...
extra...
How did he say he drove past it? I thought his car was dead.
Right.
So within 100, 200 yards from the crop circle. The crop circle this year and saw a couple of balls in the circle, and my car, basically, the radars just went and it wouldn't start.
Right.
So within 100, 200 yards from the crop circle, it come back on, but as I drove past, it went back off again.
Okay, and your belief is...
Wait, did he say within 100 yards of the crop circle, his car turned back on, but as he drove past it, it turned off? I'm just going to assume I'm interpreting that incorrectly, and what he's saying is that the crop circle interfered, supposedly. The correlation, at least, is that as he got closer to the car, or to the crop circle, his car wouldn't start. I don't even know if that's good faith, or if that's just making up a more charitable sentence for him, but I assume that's what he means.
Is that the thing that's stopping that is most likely
extraterrestrial or the microwave radiation, what's left over.
Okay, cool.
The microwave radiation, what's left over. You could have just said radiation. You didn't have to... you didn't have to make me think about... Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. That's what I'm thinking about now. That's all Don't use that word microwave if you want me to take you seriously. Now I'm thinking about popcorn.
Extraterrestrial or the microwave radiation, what's left over.
Okay, cool.
I feel bad about this, because in his eyes, you can tell he's genuinely, like, he doesn't understand why people wouldn't believe him. You know? It's a little sad to think about. Like, he just, there's something behind the eyes, an innocence, almost, where he genuinely is just like, yeah, why would I lie about this? Like, this is a thing that happened to me. Like, maybe it did happen to him, but I think he may be reading a bit into it.
Cool. I'll put the question over to you.
They're all real.
Sorry, he's got a thing next to his eye. He's got an orb of his own, if you will. But it's I'm not making fun of him for it. I'm just saying he's got a thing there, and it's making me a little uncomfortable. It's not his fault. It's mine.
real.
Yeah.
In the sense they exist. And
Not created by something else, though.
not created by something else.
Where does your evidence?
This is interesting because this time, the last time it was funny because they had two people who were equally stupid arguing with each other. This time they've got a guy who's just like, oh yeah, of course crop circles aren't real. Crop circles aren't made by aliens. They're made by me. And one guy who's just like, no, they're made by aliens.
Let's lie in this.
I know pretty much most of the people who make them.
Right. Okay.
I've been making them for over.
This guy's freaking out. You can see it. Look at this.
Know pretty much most of the people who make them.
He's freaking out. He's like, oh my god, he knows the aliens. He's friends with E.T. He knows the people who make the crop circles. He's dangerous.
Right. Okay.
I've been making them for over 14 years.
You make them yourself.
I really hope they're going to ask him why, because that is just an insane hobby to me. Like, trust me, I understand art. I even understand, like, graffiti to an extent. It's making your mark. But crop circles? Like, what do you get from that aside from the enjoyment of creating people like the person you're arguing against? Like, personally, I think the joy of making a crop circle is inspiring weirdos. So why would you find one of them and, like, convince him that it's all fake? That seems completely antithetical to the enjoyment of making a crop circle to me.
I make them.
Okay. Okay.
Back and forth. That was really good. He's just like, wait, what? He's an alien?
14 years.
You make them yourself.
I make them.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So you physically cut the ground.
No.
How does it work?
Basically, we have a tape measure,
Yeah.
a group of people, and sometimes we use a builder's laser level,
Right.
which can create straight lines.
Yeah.
And with that tape measure, your crew, your diagram, and your laser, you can create an infinite number of designs. You have.
What? This isn't an important thing. He's just explaining how they make the crop circles, but he said you take a laser? What did he say? A laser level? How do they actually physically... I always assumed someone, like, had their car and they just drove it through a cornfield and they, like... Okay, I'm gonna be fair. I got this from Doctor Who. I thought they had, like, a diagram with them and they were like, oh yeah, take a right in 100 feet. And that's a left, but take a right. Oh, no, my camera's mirrored. So yeah, I was right. Don't... Cut it. Nobody clip that. I'm not stupid, but it'd be like, oh, take a right, and that'll make a big circle, and it'll look like a crop circle. I just assumed that's how it was done. I didn't realize that there were people who bring out like tape measures and diagrams, and they were like, all right, so squad A, you're gonna take the upper right corner, and you're gonna make this sort of squiggly bit. And then squad 2, you're gonna take the left half and you'll do the triangle. Like I didn't realize that's how it worked.
Planks of wood attached to string. So basically
I cut him off before. I cut him off saying like, oh, that's not how I thought they did it. Literally before he hadn't even explained how they done it.
number of designs. You have planks of wood attached to string. So basically you stomp the wheat
As if
down,
something's
so you
landed on
fold it down.
Okay. So
Isn't that like criminal? You know what I mean? Like not just from the vandalism aspect of it, but if you're doing that through like a cornfield, aren't you destroying that guy's corn? Like couldn't you get in like serious trouble of like, oh hey, you wiped out like 12% of the corn we were gonna harvest this summer?
what do you think?
I don't know if harvesting season for corn is in the summer. I'm not from one of the places that does corn.
That he's saying that,
I do believe you can make them,
but not all of them.
unless I can see the proof that every single one I visited has been made.
Well, there we go. That's the there's the rub, isn't it? Like, oh, well, you can't prove this one wasn't aliens. Oh, yes, I can. Well, you can't prove this one wasn't aliens. Oh, yes, I can. You might that one. What about this one? That's fair. I didn't make that one. I don't know who made that one. It's got to be aliens. I don't know why I'm giving this guy an American accent and the other one a British accent, but the point stands.
Yeah.
By you. Not all just you, but
Yeah.
it's not as straightforward as, oh, we've made them all.
Where have you reached?
Oh no, this is sad because this guy really believes in it. Oh, I hate to use the word cringe, but like I'm feeling the cringe, man. Like he genuinely believes in this. Oh man, this is just sad. He's got such an innocent look to him. I know this guy is like 15 years older than me, but he still is just so like invested in this.
Recently visited to see a crop circle?
Stonehenge.
Okay.
Salisbury.
That is a sick design, dude. Like, I could see somebody getting that tattooed on them, and I would think they were actually an alien. Like, that is sick. That's really cool that somebody could make that. Oh, okay, I see how you get in there. Okay, there's, like, lanes in between the fields. And so you have these, you know, these... I'm pointing with my finger like you can see me. So you have, like, this line here, and then this line here. And somebody could, I can see how you can make a diagram and be like, all right, you take like this half, and then we'll take this bit, and the other person will do that. But okay, that wasn't a thing that was confusing me. I just think it's kind of cool to see like how they could enter there.
It's all over the Wiltshire.
Okay. And have you made any of these areas?
I've made a few this year.
Yeah.
Really?
Whereabouts?
The ones this year I haven't publicised to any of the drone pilots.
I was just wondering why you do them.
Like I said, years ago, I kind of got into the mystery of it. I've been an artist all my life. A lot of it's geometrical art, that sort of thing.
I was wrong. He doesn't have a real job. Ha ha! No. Okay, he's been an artist for a few years. I think he's about to explain why he does it.
And from the first time I done it, the image on the paper, it compared to 400 foot up in the air, and it's seeing this huge image on the landscape. Trees and hills and surroundings.
That's just really cool. That is really neat. Yeah, because like it's not like they have the above ground view. There's actually like math involved and stuff. That's really cool. Yeah, and again, you can still see the lines from how they would have had to enter. Yeah, from the. No, that's really cool actually. Huh? I can see a farmer like hiring someone to do this, maybe get some publicity for their farm. I don't know how that would work. I'm not a marketing guru, but I could see that being a thing. That's just really cool.
Amazing. It's 10 times better than it is on paper. As soon as your design went online, all these comments and questions of how it appeared and where did it come.
Okay, I was completely wrong about crop circles. I just assumed the fun was making these guys, making this happen. But I guess there is a part of it that's cool to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I guess it is a lot like graffiti of just like, I made this cool design. It's somewhat difficult to do, and that's why I do it. And then someone takes a picture of it, and then people start, complimenting me for how hard it must have been to do. Okay, yeah, no, that's really cool, actually.
Come from aliens, ley lines, microwave energy.
Right.
You name it. There's a list. There's a list longer than all of our arms.
Let's go on to another question. What do crop circles mean?
Me personally, they're art. You're out in the middle of the night. I mean, some of the things you experience and see is more phenomenal than a crop circle, to be honest. I was out in the middle of the night. One of my team members come running over about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, halfway through. So pointing up at the sky. And I was like, man, it was a moon rainbow.
Oh, wow.
It was full moon, and it's this moon rainbow.
Yeah.
It's such a rare phenomenon.
It's quite a nice experience
Moon rainbow.
for you.
Than a crop. Some of the things you experience, they're art. You're out in the middle of the night. I mean, some of the things you experience and see is more phenomenal than a crop circle, to be honest.
What do crop circles mean to you? To me, they're art. Being out in the middle of the night is cool. Personally, I don't see the transition there. Maybe there was a cut that I didn't notice, but it was just funny.
I was out in the middle of the night. One of my team members come running over about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, halfway through. It's like pointing up at the sky.
That's something I didn't even consider, though, actually, is the idea, like, yeah, it would have to be at night, or else you'd get caught by the farmer or whatnot. Like, that's really cool that you could be out there that late and make that design in the dark. I find it difficult to, I'd find it incredibly difficult to put together that level of cooperation.
I was like, man, it was a moon rainbow.
Oh, wow.
It was full moon.
I don't know what a moon rainbow is, actually. I think he's about to explain it, actually, but I would imagine it's just a rainbow at night. Oh, okay, yeah, no. I get that now. That's cool. So that's it's one of these. That's probably a better, well, if this was higher res, that'd be a better picture. Alright, yeah, that's cool, okay. That was a weird thing to say. We were talking about crop circles, but...
And it's this moon rainbow.
Yeah.
It's such a rare phenomenon.
It's quite a nice experience for you. So what about you, Peter? What do the crop circles mean to you?
The mystery of it all. And like you say, it gets people talking. You stand in them in the day, you meet people you probably never meet in your life.
Yeah.
What is it? What? Okay, I thought this was gonna be like, oh, here's this nut job who creates crop circles, and here's this nut job who believes they're made by aliens. And he asked him like, oh, what do crop circles mean to you? And I thought he was just gonna be like, aliens mostly. But no, he's like, oh, it's really cool to come here and to meet new people, and it's a phenomenon, you know. And but I don't know. Personally, I go to the coffee shop. He goes to crop circles. Whatever, you know, whatever lands you a lady.
Anybody turns up.
Like a pub?
Kind of.
That was the exact joke I was making.
There's quite a lot of crazy people who go there.
Yeah.
2 weekends ago, there was a woman just dancing.
You know he's nodding, going, like you.
Around naked inside of a crop circle.
Right.
She's like off her coconut, she was.
Off her coconut.
She was. I've met people who think that they know reptilians.
Have
That's
you?
from the crop.
That's he met the Hollow Earth guy. He met him. The Irish guy went to go see the crop circles, and he met this guy. Okay. There's gonna be like a 6. I think there are 6 of these, like a 6-episode plot line running secretly in the background. And next month they're gonna release the 7th episode, which sees them all team up against, like, I don't know, a werewolf or something.
Circles. Someone talking to me right now this close to you tells me that they know someone who's a reptilian, and they basically unzip their human clothes at the end of the day. I just go back to your cave, mate.
So yeah, I just...
I want to... He should have his own show where he just talks about the people that he meets at crop circles. It had nothing to do with the subject matter, but it was interesting.
Basically unzip their human clothes at the end of the day. I just go back to your cave, mate.
So yeah, I just want to ask you about Milk Hill. Obviously, you mentioned that you believe it wasn't created by humans, basically.
I don't believe it was created by humans unless someone can show me. You didn't make that, though.
His default is alien. I guarantee you, more than 9 out of 10 of the crop circles this guy sees, a human being has come forth and said, hey, this was me. So 90%, and this is just a number that I'm pulling out of thin air, but 90% of the crop circles this guy sees, he can verify were made by humans. But to this day, his default is still, that's an alien. That's an alien. It's alien made until you can prove it's not.
Milk Hill crop circle, I know who made it. Not the whole crew. I know there was a team of 12 or 13 people.
Right.
Who walked into that hill. It took them around 6 hours to make that crop circle.
Wow.
It's huge. I think there was over 400 circles.
488.
488. So
Wow, he's done his research.
No! This poor guy, he's so... Oh man, he's all wrapped into this, you know? It's like, oh no, there are 488 circles. A human being couldn't have done that. I don't know why he has that voice, but I don't know why he's just... Look at his posture, too. He's just like... Oh, you can't really see it on the camera all that well, but I'm hunched forward. He's just like... I'm just... I'm here, and There's 488 circles. A human being couldn't have done that. Like, he's all in this, man. I can't express that enough. But I just feel genuinely bad for this guy.
It's huge. I think there was over 400 circles.
488.
488. So
Wow, he's done his research. Knows his
I
numbers.
He knows more than I do.
Slightly thing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're obsessed with that sort of stuff.
Kind of.
Good. It's nice to have a passion about it.
Oh. Wow. No, watch that again. Watch that again. Okay, so like, he's like, oh, you're kind of obsessed with this, and he cognizes that that's a slight against him, in a way, and he's just like, he fully admits to it, and then he's like, oh, that makes me sound a bit pathetic. So he laughs, and then he's like, oh, that laugh doesn't sound real, so he just stops it. It happens so quickly where I'm like, oh, that's
more than I do.
Slightly thing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're obsessed with that sort of stuff.
Kind of.
Good. It's nice to have a passion about it.
That's tism right there. That's pure tism. There's nothing to it. It's just tism.
I do.
Slightly thing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're obsessed with that sort of stuff.
Kind of.
Good. It's nice to have a passion about it. Right.
And I know it is, because I do the same thing.
Let's go on to another question. Why are aliens so interested in humankind?
Because we're so stupid. I think they want to.
He's speaking from personal experience, I think. Why is he so down on himself? It's just like, yeah, we're stupid. It's a bit like watching monkeys throw poo at each other at the zoo. Do they call it a zoo in the UK, or do they call it a zedu?
Want to stop us annihilating ourselves.
Right, okay, so they want to help us?
Maybe. Or we've got stuff on our planet that they want, and they don't want us ruining it. Personally, there's too many people who's had too many experiences for it to all.
Why wouldn't they just take it? If they were like obsessed with pandas, I mean, obviously the Chinese government isn't doing an excellent job of keeping pandas alive, but if they're like here to protect the pandas, why don't they just take them from us? It's like a kid who has an exposed like wire in his hands and just like, give me that. Sheesh. Personally, I'd appreciate it if there's some like precious resource that we have that aliens want and they don't trust us with it. Just take it off our hands, man. I can't take that responsibility.
All be a lie.
Have you ever had experience?
No. I've seen orbs, too many experiences for it to all be a lie. Personally, there's too many people who's had too many experiences for it to all be a lie.
Have you ever had experience?
No. I've seen orbs. Real.
I've seen orbs. He goes back to the orb. You know, this guy, when he was a kid, you know, the Orbeez? The little, those little, like, water-filled orbs. He saw a couple of those, and his life changed ever since. He hasn't been able to cope with it. Like, it's a traumatic, he has a traumatic memory tied to those. And now whenever people start talking about crop circles, he's just like, I've seen orbs. I've seen orbs. It's just what he goes back to. The main thing I wanted to say was I don't understand this mentality where it's like, well, so many people have stories about it, so it's got to be true. That's anything. All right, I've known 7 different homeless men in my own life who've told me they've seen a dragon. It's not a real story, but like, no matter how many people tell you a thing, at what point are you like, okay, well, just because they're all saying the same thing doesn't mean it's true, because that's a really bad, that's a really inconsistent way to lead your life too. To just be like, well, enough people are saying it's true, so probably is. It's scary too, man. Enough people say there's like, oh, there's a killer outside of your house. It's like, oh, I don't want to live my life like that.
Real, genuinely seen them.
Right.
And I've got photos, which are not fake, because I wouldn't even know how to fake them.
Right, okay.
I just, you know, I don't even edit my photos on the drone, they're raw.
I do not believe in aliens, as in the majority of people believe them.
Yeah.
I think we're hugely egotistical to image an alien in the form of ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tens of thousands.
So I guess he thinks there's like intelligence out there, but not in the same physical way that we as humans exist. I'm interested to see where he goes with this.
Thousands of species on this planet. Jellyfish.
Yeah.
Tigers, lion, you name it.
Yeah.
And none of them, trust me, are going to achieve interstellar flight before we do.
You know, why aren't they depicted as aliens?
They could be an ant, couldn't they?
Macroscopic, they could be absolutely tiny.
How far back does it go?
1970s, late 70s, two guys, Doug and Dave. Apparently a UFO landed in somewhere in Australia. I mean, in Australia you get all the tornadoes, little mini whirlwinds.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. So Doug and Dave must have saw this on TV and thought, oh yeah, nests.
There's a laugh in there.
We'll have a laugh, we'll go and create a nest in the field. So over a period of 20 years, they said to their wives, we're going to the pub, but they'd go and make a couple of crop circles.
That's mental. I'm just going down the pub, love. All right, sweet. Come on, Dave, let's go and mow these lawns.
That's a really good point, actually. It is a bit psychotic to be like, oh no, sweetie, we're just going to go relax. And then they go do physical labor. Like, what are you getting out of that? He comes back all sweaty and like with grass all over his, what do you call it? Like the hem, like the ends of his pant legs. And you're just like, I don't think he's going to the pub. I don't know where they're going, but it's not the pub. He's got like, you know, like weeds all over his legs.
That's insane.
I think 20 years later, they opened up to the world and they said, yeah, we make crop circles. I've seen and witnessed for some crazy things when I've been out in the fields.
Yeah.
Temperature changes, I've heard voices, I've seen shadows of...
Okay, so does he believe in crop circles? Or not in crop circles. Does he believe... What does he mean? Because if he believes there's a correlation with aliens and crop circles, but he's creating the crop circles, like where does that even lead you?
I mean, some of the lights in the sky, not stars, flashing on and off.
Yeah.
It's called a helicopter, my man.
E.T.
I don't know what it is.
That's it? No! No! I needed to see where they were going with that. It seemed like they were reaching some common ground of like, oh yeah, there's aliens, and there's flashing lights in the sky. What's a helicopter? I really wanted to see where that was going. This one did not have as much debate in it.
Bucket or burger?
Burger.
Yeah, burger.
Burger, okay, sweet. Easy as that. Next question is bones or boneless?
Boneless.
Boneless.
Yep.
You're both the same? Okay, interesting. Fillet or zinger burger?
I saw that twinkle in his eye. He's like, you want your crop circles? I'm the man who makes the crop circles. I don't know where I'm going with this bit, but I'm going to end it there.
Fillet.
Zinger.
Yeah, like a little zing there.
I don't know what a fillet or a zinger is. Does he mean like is that like a chicken tender versus is that like a chicken strip versus a chicken nugget? I don't know what that means. I don't know that Google's going to be a lot of help here. Keep hitting my microphone. Larger fillet is meatier and juicier than the one in the original zinger. Oh, it's a KFC specific thing. Like they have something. No, I don't want cookies or chicken for that matter. No, a zinger fillet. I don't care enough about this to look into it. I don't know why.
Okay, you strike me as that kind of guy. I noticed it's the hat. Gravy or beans?
Beans.
Gravy.
Yeah.
I've already heard all these
Have you tried the
questions.
gravy?
No.
I know the
Mind-blowing.
answers.
Game changing. Honestly, another level. I won't stop saying it. It's phenomenal. But we can't shake hands, so let's shake bucket. If you want to grab each side of the bucket, there you go. Give it a shake. Yeah.
Why are they shaking
amicable.
hands?
Well, I've been Will Richards. That is the end of this one. We'll
They
see you
didn't
for the next.
disagree on anything. Like the guy on the left here, his philosophy is that everything is alien until proven otherwise. And this guy is like, yeah, I don't know, that's probably fair. Like, I've seen flashing lights in the sky, and he's seen orbs. So, I mean, there was really no, I don't know. It feels like they got these guys together expecting them to disagree, but they didn't really dig too deep into their philosophies. And they found that it was entirely compatible. You see, that's what I was talking about. Like, he's vandalizing the fields. Like, you probably should have to pay something. Are there any comments that are like, oh, they just agree? Where's the video evidence to prove that a team with a tape measure and builders later And builders later? What? With a tape measure and builders later can make an elaborate crop circle in the dark within hours. What? Show me the proof that a bunch of welders and a few carpenters could make the Empire State Building. I'm telling you, it's aliens. What does that mean? I'm sure I can find you a video right now. Ignore it. I don't have YouTube Premium. I've got Germa on my homepage. Making crop circles. No. I don't want to watch like a 20-minute video. Crop circle time lapse. No, just give me like a time lapse of people making a crop circle. Is this one? I'm sorry. I was not expecting the Benny Hill theme. Okay. Okay, moving on. This is just a really stupid thing to say. When that guy said he makes them. Okay, they're missing the point. The gospel, I would say, is the main message of the Bible. What did this have to do with the video? Oh, that's just mean. Man's out here looking like Shrek turned human. Actually, is that mean? Do people find human Shrek attractive? Yeah, this wasn't a very, I don't know. This one didn't spark as much intellectual discussion as the last one, but let's keep moving ahead.
What I do can help.
Ooh, End of the World. This is interesting. I gotta change the title. What's a good one? Oh no. How do you spell apocalypse? I have to search how to spell apocalypse. Is there a good pun that that ties together like the end of the world and chicken? I know they played the song "End of the World" in the Chicken Little movie. Yeah, there's really not a good one. I'll just title it "The Apocalypse." That's what we're gonna be discussing this time. Wow. Huh. This is quite the couple we have here. This one has like no views, man. Less than 3,000? How has no one like picked up on these yet, man? JonTron made that video. He only covered 2 of these episodes. I was like, I have to see the rest of them. I have to know. Anyway, let's get into it. These two are going to discuss the end of the world.
What I do can help. And I've seen it help a lot of people.
Well, I admire you, but I think you're a salesman capitalizing on people's fears. Let's bust the next.
I think you're a... What?
I've seen it help a lot of people.
Well, I admire you, but I think you're a salesman capitalizing on people's fears.
You're a salesman capitalizing on people's fears. That's just a good salesman. That's not an insult.
Let's bust the next question.
Oh my god! Do you want to sit here? Jeez.
Nah.
Some of the world's greatest mysteries include the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Were they real? What really goes on in the Bermuda Triangle? But more importantly, what are the KFC 11
herbs and spices?
I have tried every...
Do you think do you think the final episode is going to be him with 2 people debating over what the 11 herbs and spices are? I really I've never looked into it because oh, I don't think I updated that. There we go. I've never looked into it because I don't like KFC. I think they're kind of disgusting. But I do wonder if there's like a massive group of people just frantically trying to figure out what the 11 herbs and spices are. And they've had like a subreddit going for 15 years trying to figure it out.
Everything in my power to get KFC to tell me what the 11 herbs and spices are, but with no avail. So,
Hubs. You can just say herbs, man. Come on.
KFC have changed the game and they've sent me to meet some people with their very own mysteries.
This set, I didn't talk about this set. I'm really confused by what vibe this set is trying to is trying to evoke. You know, I mean, I get it, you know, nice office space. You've got hardwood floors. Okay, this brick, all right, it's pretty decent brickwork. It looks like they've covered up a fireplace with a panel of some sort, just a nondescript panel. You've got the KFC neon sign that's probably not real brick behind it, which, you know, is whatever. But why would you have the neon sign over a brick background, over a wooden background, and then you also have lights up here? That just doesn't make any sense to me. You've got two, I'm guessing, like plastic ferns on one side right next to each other. A cacti on the other side. I don't know if that's... I've never been to Roswell, like New Mexico. I don't know if that's supposed to evoke like the desert setting of Roswell. I don't know if Roswell is in a desert. You've got E.T., gas mask, E.T., car. I don't know what that little... I think they show it earlier.
But with no avail. So, KFC have changed the game and they've said what the 11 herbs and spices are. I have tried, more importantly...
Okay, it's just a book. Oh, that's not a... That's a little robot. That's a DeLorean. That's a globe. Oh, hold on. Are these predicting the episodes? Because this one's a globe, like the shape of the Earth, and this one's an alien. And maybe this gas mask is supposed to be like, oh, the end of the world is coming, put on your gas mask. And these are supposed to be like, okay, these are supposed to be like little teasers for what the next episode is going to be. And then, I didn't notice the second cactus. And then they've got whatever the heck this thing is. It's just a circle on... It's just a circle on a stand. I don't know. This is a weird set. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever seen like those liminal spaces where they're just like areas that look like they're a dream. I feel like this is where my nightmares take place.
Own mysteries and try to get them talking. From crop circles to secret societies and many other mysteries, I've been sent to try and find out if these people can find a common ground which leads to the truth.
Preppin'.
So I'm King Rems. I'm from North London, and
What did she say her name was?
so I'm King Rems. I'm from North London.
It's not what it says down there. I don't know what she said, but it's not what's down there. Yeah, that's
And I'm a practicality prepper. So I prep for the eventuality of the world not functioning the way that it does.
That's most people in general? I don't know, I feel like most people have a stockpile of like, oh, you know, I've got like a month's worth of canned food that I cycle out just in case, you know. Like if, you know, there were a worldwide pandemic which shut down supply trains, just in case.
So things like being aware of what plants you can and can't eat and what their uses are. So yeah,
It's just the average camping American. I don't know if practicality prepper is the right word, but...
prep for that makes sense.
My name is Andrew Thomas Price. I'm from Wales, and I'm primarily a wilderness survival expert. So my prepping strategy is to learn how to fish, how to hunt and trap, how to build shelters, how to purify water, and basically...
That's just a normal hobby. This guy likes to go camping. This is... I'm really confused, because at the beginning, she seemed really... rude, is one way to put it. She was really going after him. Like, it seems like these two are about to have, like, a really intense disagreement, but I'm confused as to why that would be, because he's just like, oh, yeah, you know, hunting, trapping, fishing, you know, purifying water. Here's how you survive off the land, which is a really good thing to know, just in general. You know, you can find yourself in a multitude of occasions where you would need to know at least one of those things, and it's good to, you know, have that on hand. And she's like, oh, I prep for the practical, like, you know, if supply chains shut down, or, you know, if some commodity becomes ridiculously expensive and we can't afford it anymore, I, you know, stock up on, you know, these sorts of things. Like, I'm really confused as to where the disagreement is going to be.
How to stay undercover.
My goodness. Is it the shoes? Am I crazy, or is she like a head taller than him at least? Now, maybe it's just because she's closer to the camera, but she looked like a monster. Especially compared to this guy, but I'm guessing this table is deeper than the camera makes it look.
Stay undercover in the wild.
Yeah, because they would, this was filmed, when was this filmed? This would have been filmed like early 2020, so they would have been very serious about the 6 feet, I think.
Until everything goes back to normal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Will Richards, and we're here today once again with KFC to delve into some mysteries. But
oh, okay. It's just I made the joke about the chicken bones earlier, but I think it's just the questions in the bucket. But it's not like he knows what he's gonna ask them next. So I don't know.
before we dive into your mysteries and your theories,
just a gimmick.
What we're going to do is get to know each other a little bit better with some KFC questions. First question is, bones or...
Okay, so he's doing the bit where he's like, oh, you know, the chicken questions. Personally, if I was doing this, I really want to know where they're coming from. Like, just, you know, their personal history of like, oh, hey, where did you grow up? What do you do for a living? And honestly, with half of the conspiracy guys, it's just going to be, oh, I really don't do anything for a living. What do you mean living? But, I don't know. Personally, that's what I find. There's a third plastic plant and a couch. What is this set? What else could they use this set for? This is just confusing.
Boneless.
Well, I'm vegan, so it's definitely going to be boneless.
Why is she on the show? Get her out of here. What's she gonna eat? The little dry biscuit that you use to choke people? What is the point? What does she have of value? What can I learn from a vegan? All right, nothing. That's the answer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll go for the boneless as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, less to throw away.
Okay, Remy, next question.
Wait, did she say I'm a vegan, so boneless? Because that doesn't make sense to me. Does she mean like she does the Beyond chicken or whatever?
Boneless.
Well, I'm vegan, so it's definitely going to be boneless.
Yeah,
Is she talking about like the Beyond chicken? Is that a thing, or am I crazy? This isn't funny. I'm not like I said, I'm a major boomer, so it takes me too long to make little jokes like this. This has gone on for way too long. There's been way too much silence for this to still be funny after I finally get it up. There we go. We're just gonna have this in the corner. There we go. Perfect.
Or boneless. Have a little bit better with some KFC questions. First question is, bones or boneless?
Well, I'm vegan, so it's definitely going to be boneless.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll go for the boneless
He says it like it doesn't make sense.
as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, less to throw away.
Okay, Remy, next question is, bucket or burger? Again,
KFC do a mean vegan burger.
I've tried it and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so KFC, well, obviously they do. I put the picture up, but KFC did have like vegan options at the time. I don't know why you would go to KFC if you were looking for vegan options. I feel like if you're going vegan, you're all about that healthy lifestyle. You'd probably actually, you know, like cook for yourself. But what do I know?
Thanks. So we're definitely going burger on that.
Okay, yourself?
I've got to go for a bucket.
Yeah. Gravy or beans?
Can we go both?
Of course you can.
Aye, both then. Let's have.
Well, then what's the point of any of this? I want to eat it all. I'm fat. Like, what's the point of any of this? If you could just say both. That's not what debate is about. Come on, man. I want to see these people have like a 15-minute argument over why beans are a better side than gravy. I want to be there. I love that sort of thing.
Have it.
Both, and yourself?
Gravy.
I love it. Gravy every time. I drink it.
Wait, is gravy... Am I crazy, or is gravy an animal byproduct? I could have just... Forgot how to spell byproduct. Oh. Well, hold up. Ooh. Okay, no. KFC gravy is both non-vegetarian and non-vegan. It has butter and chicken fat in it. This chick is a faker. All right, she doesn't deserve this soy face. She's a faker. Not a real vegan. My goodness. She fought so hard for the gravy that she said both. She broke the unspoken rules of a choice between two things by saying both. All for the gravy, the non-vegan gravy. All right, so we know that's where I stand with this lady. All right, she's a faker. All right.
Most importantly, we're going to head into your theories now,
Mm-hmm.
which are both based around some form of life skill, right?
In essence, yeah, it's more practical.
This isn't really well, obviously they don't use the word conspiracy in the title, but it's not really a it's not really mystery either, is it? Like, yeah, the world will end someday. Mystery, will I die? KFC mystery number 7. Do things end eventually? Like, there's no mystery to solve. It's just two like doomsday preppers. If this, I really thought this was going to be them arguing about how the end is coming, but it seems like they're arguing over how to prepare for the end.
So looking at how you position yourself to deal with any eventuality of where the world may go.
Okay, and yours is not dissimilar, is that right?
Not dissimilar, but there will be some differences.
Cool. Let's get into
Okay.
it. The first question is, do you have a
He didn't let him explain.
theory about how the Earth will end?
The Earth is going to be around for a long time. Whether humans will still be on it is another question.
Why did she make the face like, I'll give him that one? Like, no, it's... the amount of energy it would take to, like, actually destroy the Earth. Like, I mean, like, like Star Wars, just Death Star, boom, it's gone. Like, that would take so much energy that it's just not feasible. Like, yes, the Earth will be here for a long time. He even goes on to say, like, whether or not humans will be on it. It's a different matter entirely. I don't understand the face. That's a fake vegan face.
So,
Right, yeah.
I'm not a kind of, end of the world prepper. I'm preparing for things to go bad, but then to re-emerge and sort of resume normal life at the end of it. So.
Okay. And
So if there's a re-emergence, what does the re-emergence look like if life has just gone to because it can't go back to normal if there's no normality?
Well, I mean, history's been through cycles. You look at the Roman Empire taking over a third of the planet, and then it collapses into itself, and then another culture emerges.
That's not an apocalypse scenario, though. That's not really doomsday prepping. That's just like, oh, if the U.S. collapses, which it will eventually. It's a country, it's a nation. They all collapse, but I don't really see how she can argue with this. Like, oh yeah, that's. I mean, all she can really say is, oh, that's not like the end of the world, really, but it's still a thing to prepare for, I suppose.
Happened right throughout history, and I don't see why our culture should be any different. So there will be ups and downs, there'll be upheaval and disasters and all sorts of things, but eventually the resilient people with skills that know what they're doing will re-emerge and normality can resume.
If you look at it historically, we've lived off the land, we've understood how the Earth works.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where we've never been more dependent. We're reliant on our phones, we're reliant on microwaves, we're reliant on ovens, we're reliant on...
Reliant? I don't know if reliant... I mean, like, the average human being, yeah, but I don't know if end of the world is the right word for it. If let's just say like every satellite just went down, just exploded, like there is no more communication whatsoever, I can see there being a collapse of some sort, but I don't know that what either of them are talking about is really, end of the world material.
cars.
Okay.
Those types of things, if they don't function, how do we?
What evidence supports your theory and your...
The way that we did before that? Like, I think that's what the other guy is saying. Like, yeah, if everything collapses. Well, he did say return back to normal, so I could be wrong with my interpretation of what he's saying. Maybe I'm just fighting against her because she's a fake vegan, as we've spoken about. But I don't really get what either of them are trying to say there.
Your opinion?
Mine is practical. It's being prepared. Like, you need to eat, right? You need to ward off infections.
I didn't think about that. That is a point. You do need to eat. I don't know how she plans on being a vegan, you know, once the collapse comes, but maybe we'll talk about that.
Right? You need to take in fresh air, right? You need to drink fresh water. What evidence do you need? That's what the body needs to function.
Okay, yeah. But are we that heavily dependent on technology?
How would you make a cup of coffee without your kettle?
Well,
that's not dependent. That's like, oh, I don't get coffee because the world has ended. That's very different. Like, I don't need my phone to get fresh water. I just flip a faucet. But then that's what the other guy's saying, is he's learning how to be, you know, dependent on the land. So I'm really confused as to how she's going to disagree with that.
Pour some water and put it in a pot.
How would you boil the water without using your stove?
Make a fire.
How are you going to make a fire?
2 sticks.
Can you make a fire?
Do it right now.
My guess.
It's really not that hard to make a fire. The way that I know how to do it is you take like a log basically, and you cut it open, and you have the open log. You make a groove in there, and you get a bit of kindling toward the end of one side, and you just kind of, I don't have anything really to demonstrate it with a pencil or anything, but you basically take a stick and you force it along that groove, and you just keep going until eventually you'll get a bit of smoke coming, and then you put your kindling over that, and you kind of you just blow on it a little bit to try to get the the oxygen stirring, and then you have a fire. Like that's the way that I know how to do it. People always talk about that. They're like, oh, well, do you know how to make a fire? And it's like, oh, yes, actually, it's really not that hard to look into. Plus, let's say we don't have the internet tomorrow. Go down to the library. They have plenty of books on survival, and not only that, you only need to know somebody who probably knows that, and they'll show you, and then you'll do it. That's how we did things before the internet, and before books, and before written language even, is we just told each other about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Let's go right now. Let's go. Can you make a fire?
Do it right now.
My guess. Let's go right now. Let's go.
No, I can't.
But you
do
see
that.
what I mean? Like,
No,
you have
100%,
like the dexterity to understand the process.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. Like, most kids these days don't even know what a flipping watermelon is. Something.
Most kids these days don't even know what a flipping watermelon is. What? What? Most kids these days don't know what a watermelon is. I'm legitimately confused by the point she's trying to make there. Like, what is her argument? She's arguing against learning how to make a fire? I really don't. I guess I just need to let it go. I need to let it keep going, because I don't understand the point she's making here.
That is one of the massive downfalls we've got, because they are brilliant.
I will agree with you on the subject of the fact that we've become so disconnected from nature. You know, our ancestors, not that many generations ago, lived close to the land. They knew how to get resources from the land and how to use those resources. Whereas we are just so, as a society, so dependent now on being able to flick a switch and get light and heat and everything we're used to.
Do you think everyone should prepare in the way that you've prepared?
From a societal point of view, the more people who are prepared, the better it'll be for everybody.
Okay.
So during the early stages of the whole lockdown, one of the things that became apparent was there was a lot of finger pointing and people saying, these preppers buying all the toilet roll, they're the problem. And it wasn't the preppers at all.
Yeah.
Because if you're a prepper and if you've been thinking about this sort of thing happening, you've already got everything you need.
That's fairly true. I worked at a grocery store until April 2020. And it was very apparent that the people who started stocking up on everything weren't the people who were already prepared for something like this. It was a lot of people who were like, oh, these people are prepared and I'm not. I should get prepared. And then they go and they buy 2. Then everyone's like, oh man, everyone's buying 2. I should probably start buying 2. And then some guy's like, everyone's buying 2. I should start buying 3. And it's, oh, I should start buying 10. And now everyone's buying 10 rolls of toilet paper. And they justify it by saying, oh, well, if I don't grab these 10 rolls of toilet paper, I'm going to run out. And everyone else is going to have 10 rolls of toilet paper. Or not 10 rolls. 10 rolls of toilet paper. It's not going to last you that long. But depending on the size of your family. But it was everyone saying, oh, if I don't buy 10 packages of toilet paper, I'm going to run out, and then I'm going to come back here, and because everyone else has already bought 10 packages of toilet paper, there's not going to be enough for me. It's that sort of thing. It's really not the doomsday preppers who were stealing the toilet paper.
See, you are vegan, so you live off of
Plant-based
plant-based diet.
It makes
Made in factories.
me more versatile. Like, I'm going to survive longer than vegan.
No, you won't. I mean, like, eventually, yeah, you'll probably eat some meat, but let's say practically you are unable to eat meat, you will not survive very long in the wild. She's talking about, like, oh, you don't know how to make a fire. You probably don't know, like, which berries you can't eat. You probably don't know how many berries it takes to keep a human body going.
People who aren't vegan, because if you think about it, you catch a fish, you have to eat it that day. And additionally, you have to cook that meat. So if you haven't got the means...
Has she not heard of, like, an icebox? If society completely collapses, we still have the old things. You can get a cooler. You can fill it with, well, you'd have to get ice first, I suppose. But, I mean, let's say it's winter. Like, you freeze them. It's really not that big of a deal. Plus... she's saying, like, oh, you catch one fish, you have to eat that fish. Let's not even talk about fish. Let's say you find a wild bovine or a goat of some sort. You kill that goat, that's like a month's worth of jerky, man. Like, no, you can live on one animal for quite a while. You don't have to, obviously, with something like that, a bird or a fish, like, yeah, you have to eat it that day. You can't make, like, fish jerky. Wait, can you? Can you make fish jerky? I'm gonna gross myself out here. Oh my lord, you can make fish jerky. Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. You can make fish jerky, man. You can make salmon jerky. Wow. No, you don't have to eat that fish that day. She's just wrong. I have a little thing in my hands that I was fidgeting with.
or the know-how to light a fire or make a fire, you're not going to be able to eat raw meat.
I disagree.
I can
You
feel
would
it.
disagree, but at the same time...
I agree that plant-based diet is healthier, better for the environment.
It's not. People always like to talk about like, oh, well, everyone's got a different body type and we've all got these differences. A plant-based diet is not healthier for everyone. A plant-based diet is not going to keep all this going.
Totally with you on that. However, all those people that haven't prepared, they haven't got food, are going to see your allotment as a food source.
They don't want your stuff.
What are you going to do then?
It's about building civilization. If you're surrounding yourself with the right people from early, it's about being around like-minded people. If there ever comes to that point, what we've learned from doing things the wrong way is that segregation it's not going to get us anywhere. So if I decide, right, you can't come and sit at my table because you're not...
Well, the point isn't to keep everyone alive, it's to keep me alive. And, good luck, everyone.
...ready and you can't eat my allotment. We're making the same mistakes historically that we've made before. You take it back before pre-industrial age when we lived off a barter system. Okay, cool, you want this cabbage. I'm going to need for you to then mow this piece of land for me. Or
compromise.
Yeah.
But, we're kind of jumping from, a normal period now to this perfect utopia where everybody's living in community.
That's a fair point. If everything collapses, nobody has any jobs anymore, it's pretty much immediately going to go to looting. And then eventually, like home invasion sort of thing, pretty quickly, I think. Oh, there's nothing at the grocery store. Let me go see what Ted has in his house, and if Ted fights me, I'm going to kill him. I feel like it pretty quickly devolves to that, and yeah, there's really no two ways about it. Society collapse, it very quickly goes to violence. I feel like it would take a good, 10 years at least before everyone trusted each other enough to really give society a second chance. I mean, there's a church or people who go to school together, really close neighborhoods they would probably start to be like, okay, we're going to try and like organize a sort of community here, but society as a whole, where we're like, oh yes, this is the city of Meesville. This is Disco Town, and we only play disco, and we have an actual set of rules here. Here's the mayor, here's like the police force. I feel like it takes a long time to get back to that once society collapses.
And helping each other. In between these two times, we're looking at.
Oh, a lot of people are going to die, aren't we?
Well, that's the part that we try to brush over. You know, 'cause
Smiled about. There was a big smile on that face.
A lot of people are going to die, aren't we?
Well,
That's a little scary.
that's the part that we try to brush over. You know, because I think we're on the same page. What would make an ideal world is everybody living in community and harmony.
The dream.
Close to the land and all these great
I think
things.
it's a very Western world thing, though. Like it's a very European thing actually to not live like that. A lot of Caribbean communities, we already live in harmony. Like go into Jamaica, like you'll see like farmers who'll be like, all right.
That's all I'm gonna say. A lot easier to live in harmony, you know.
Here what? So I have these 3 goats, and you have that 1 cow. You want to swap something?
Yeah.
Like so, there's the element of bartering. So I think.
Has she not heard of like eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist? Like we do that in the Western world too. Also, is the Caribbean not in the Western world? Jamaica. I mean, obviously it is like on the west side of the world. Here we go. The Western Caribbean zone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just, I've never heard anyone, because I mean, if you're saying it's not west, you'd have to say it's east. And I've never heard anyone say that Jamaica is part of the Eastern world. Yeah, I don't know where she's coming from with that.
Harmony, like go into Jamaica, like you'll see like farmers who'll be like, all right, here what? So I have these 3 goats, and you have that 1 cow. You want to swap something?
Yeah.
Like so, there's the element.
So if you go to Jamaica, you will see people who say, hey, I have 3 goats. I'll trade them for that cow. And then they'll do that. And that is why you shouldn't learn to build a fire? I don't know what her end goal is here. I really don't. They're disagreeing, but I don't know why.
Element of bartering. So I think the European way of looking at things is very selfish. It's very now. It's a very microwave sense.
That's selfish too. I mean, like from to an extent, is it not? I'm looking to better my position by having a cow. And the way I get the cow is by giving this guy 3 goats. For all we know, those are 3 sick goats. And he's like, oh man, I'm pulling the wool over this guy's eyes, you know? Like, it's the human condition, really. Like, selfishness, people try to do this all the time. They're like, oh, you know, it's very Western, it's very European, it's very white, you know, to focus on yourself and to be selfish and to, you know, look for gold in them hills and whatnot. But no, that's just people, man. Like, people naturally want what's best for them, and the degree to which they value their own well-being over the well-being of others is entirely dependent on the person. I don't see where this is coming from. Like, this is a Western thing.
Sense of entitlement.
Let's go on to the next question. Do you have an escape plan in case of emergency in the UK, and where would you go? He's itching.
Well, they can't tell us about that, man. I would keep that a secret. If they tell us about it, they're not real doomsday preppers. They're LARPing, all right? Because if they tell us about it, that lets me know that that's not the real place, all right? I wouldn't tell anyone. It's like if I have this thing where, like, if I win the lottery, I'm giving all of my family, like, you know, a certain amount of money, and then I'm just leaving. Like, sorry, I'm done with this. Like, you all enjoy the money. Never ask me for anything again.
Oh, come on.
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah, for me, I don't see my long-term settlement.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Jamaica is not like some. It's not like a perfect, you know, safe haven. Like nothing bad is ever gonna happen in Jamaica. If all of society collapses. Like, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a complete societal collapse, and her plan is I'm going to Jamaica.
In England, I don't think there's the infrastructure for it. I don't think there's the mentality for it.
But
What?
if right this second,
Yeah.
air raid sirens went off,
Yeah.
we're done for unless you get out. How are you going to get to Jamaica?
Well, I think for me, I'd go home, borderline Hertfordshire, get home, make sure my mum's safe, get what we have got, and just try and protect
So
her.
your mum's in Hertfordshire?
Yeah.
You're in central London right now. Goes Pete Tong. How are you getting back to Hertfordshire?
Who's Pete Tong?
It goes wrong.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's wrong.
I got it.
Who's he in all of this? Like, when did
You
he,
weren't even born then.
when did he come in? Like,
I don't know what they're referencing either. It may be because I'm young. It may be because I'm American. One of the two.
He's a bleeding Reddit DJ as well.
did he do the bombings?
No, so it goes wrong from
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point. How do you get back to Hertfordshire?
Oh, I can
no
walk home
trains,
from here.
planes. Really?
Yeah, yeah.
All around London, you've got power lines, you know, these big power lines. Now, they have to keep those areas clear for maintenance. So
Get back to Hertfordshire.
Bombings?
even born then.
When did he come in?
It goes wrong from
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point. How do you get back to Hertfordshire?
Oh, I can
no
walk home
trains,
from here.
planes.
I've got what? I've got something from here.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
All around London, you've
Do you get back to Hertfordshire?
Oh, I can
no
walk home
trains,
from here.
planes. Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even pick up what she's saying. I have no clue what she's talking about. Hopefully they say it again.
all around London, you've got power lines, you know, these big power lines. Now,
And another
they have
sense.
to keep those areas clear for maintenance. So you can follow power line routes. I've told everybody now, so they're all going to do it.
Wow.
This is mind blowing. I've never even thought of that because, of course, they have to go from town to town to city to
Exactly.
city.
So you can follow those, and then you've also got things like old canal paths, and you've got old.
We also have like physical maps that exist. You can go down to the post office or even at like some grocery stores, and they just have maps there. I don't get why that's not an option. Like, say you're in central Austin and you need to figure out how to get to like Dallas or San Antonio, or really from any point to any point. As long as you already know how to get there, you can just walk along the area where the road is. The collapse of society is not gonna like eliminate the roads.
Old disused railway lines, and
There's a lot in London.
Yeah, if you know where these
about,
places
yeah.
are, you can stay right off the beaten track.
I mean, that's fair too, is you'd want to stay away from where everyone else would be going, but I mean, doesn't seem like a major concern.
How often do you do drills?
I do this professionally, so I teach wilderness survival skills as a living.
Oh, right.
So yeah, every day.
Every day.
That's a respectable profession, like, because she was just criticizing this guy for like not knowing how to make a fire. So this guy's job is to teach people how to make a fire. And honestly, that just seems like fun. Like, it wouldn't even be a doomsday prepping thing for me. It would just be, yeah, I want to be able to live off the land for like a week or a couple weeks as like a retreat.
I live this lifestyle. In terms of applying it to prepping, sort of disaster prepping, it's something that's always on my mind. So, you know, I build skills. I think skills are the most important thing. So I don't have, you know, a huge garage full of tin supplies. I've got, you know, enough for a few days and maybe a couple of weeks. But I'm working on the principle that if I've got skills, I can use those skills to keep myself.
That's reasonable, you know, give a man a fish, teach a man to fish.
For my family alive.
You've made an enterprise essentially out of people's fears of the end of the world.
Yes. What's confusing about that? Yeah, people are scared of dying. I teach them skills that I believe will prevent them from dying. That's like if I went up to a self-defense instructor, I'm like, "You've made an enterprise out of people's fears." Yes. Like that's just good business. I don't understand that as a criticism.
Not at all. No, I teach bushcraft and survival skills.
I see. There's where he went wrong. He should have just admitted to it. Like, yes, people are afraid of something. I'm selling them something that I believe will prevent them from, you know, walking into their fears.
So,
what is bushcraft?
Bushcraft is recreational survival skills. So you're learning the skills of survival, but for enjoyment. So learning how to sit by a fire or light a fire, then enjoy being by the fire.
Okay, so how to safely, but...
Sorry, I just had like a I don't know if that was a burp or what that was, but I think the mic might have picked it up, and I did not mean for it to. But no, like, that's fair. That's literally what I was saying. Like, I would learn how to do that for fun. Like, that's just camping to me. The whole, like, oh, I brought an RV, and we have a television in there, and we have a propane lighter. Like, that's not camping to me. I wanna make a fire. You know, I'm at the point where, like, I don't even want to bring a tent. You know, next time I go camping, I want to just, you know, figure it out. I'd love to do that sort of thing. That's a really respectable job. I don't know why she's turning this into something it's not.
Productively,
Yes.
light
So
a fire.
you made an enterprise out of people's fears.
Oh Lord, he just said people want to do it for fun.
Not at all. Not out of fears at all. I think it's almost a lifestyle choice that people enjoy the freedom of not having to.
Like, what does she think she's getting over him here? I really don't understand. Like, she thinks she's got this gotcha. It's like she came in here to argue, and she's glad she's found something to argue about. I really don't understand what the difference between them is.
To use electricity and not being connected to technology.
It's the monopolization of people fearing the end of the world, and you make a living.
Why is that a bad thing? Like, yeah, people, you know, the world hasn't ended yet. People have to make money. Like, and he has a marketable skill, and he's selling it. I don't understand the problem.
Living now for people's fears.
I don't see it that way. I think I help people to learn skills that will help themselves. I don't see it as capitalizing on fear at all.
So what is it then?
I've made a lifestyle.
He said it like 3 times. Like, I teach people my lifestyle because they want to learn my lifestyle.
For myself around my own personal interests. So
And
this
you
is
sell it as a
something-
product for people that fear the end of the
What's the roadblock here, sweetheart? Like, I don't get what's preventing you from wrapping your head around this. Yes.
You
world
could
coming.
view it as a product or as a service, perhaps.
We don't know if the end of the world is going to come. We're logical enough.
It will. It will. Trust me, things have an end.
To believe that it is, but you're selling a product for something that may never be.
Most people that come to me are doing it because they enjoy the experience of foraging for wild foods.
Yeah.
People sleeping outside in a shelter they've built themselves for the first time with all the bugs. That's a huge step for a lot of people. So I'm helping people in that respect.
It's like a rough butlins then.
Very rough buffet.
I'm just trying to understand
I'm-
the price that you've put on people's fears. That's all.
I do a lot
What does he try out, like $100 a day? I'll do it. Like, it sounds like fun.
for charities as well.
So what
I've
kind
got
of
a-
So gun manufacturers, not even guns, like people who sell pepper spray to women, people who sell, like, you know, those little tasers to women who are in New York, so they think they might get raped. Like, yeah, they're making money on people's fears. Whoop-de-doo. They're also preventing ladies from getting raped, so, you know, it seems to be an even trade to me.
Charity.
myself. Mental health charities are the main one.
Okay.
Because a lot of the problems we have in society.
What did he
now
say
with
about mental health?
Put on people's fears. That's all.
I do a lot for charities as well.
So what
I've
kind
got
of
a few
charity?
myself.
Okay, that's weird. That's a weird thing to pull out, is like, I do things for charities. It's like, I don't really care. That doesn't seem to relate to what we were talking about.
Mental health charities are the main one.
Okay.
Because a lot of the problems we have in society now with mental health problems, my personal feeling is a lot of it comes down to social media.
That's fair. Yeah, we're too connected. I realize, man, I say this from a social media platform. I don't know if Twitch counts as social media, but it does seem like a lot of people, their problems boil down to they have too many voices in their heads. Not like in a schizophrenic sort of way, but in just, you know, we're constantly hearing people yell at us all the time, you know, and like and the Twitters and the whatnot, you know, not to sound like you know, my father, but you know, not to sound like some old guy like yelling at the cloud, but like Twitter is just people constantly yelling at you, saying you're not good enough, and then when you try to improve yourself, they tell you that you're not good enough and you'll never be good enough. So what's even the point in trying? And I think that does lead to a very depressed mindset. So I would agree mostly that a lot of mental health problems can just boil down to social media.
Reliance on technology, the fact that we're all connected to all these negative impulses. So what I do is take people that are suffering from depression, social anxiety, and I put them through
Live
hell.
in the middle of
I
nowhere,
put them
like
through
fix
hell.
yourself.
Yeah, because if people are given real challenges,
That's fair. I mean, like, I think he's just about to say it. Like, we have all these problems, which, from my perspective at least, they're kind of self-invented. Where it's like, oh, I put myself in this position, and now I'm depressed. Like, you shouldn't have put yourself in that position. But I do think, like, if you give people real problems, they'll fix them, and they'll realize that the problems that they had kind of ended up fixing themselves. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not a mental health professional, just a guy who has also had mental health issues. And a lot of them, looking back on them, it's like, that's not a real thing. That's just something that's in my head, so fix it.
Challenges. You know, light that fire, or you're going to
So
get
mental
cold.
health is not a real challenge?
Mental health is a
Oh, Lord. No, it's not. It's a mental health issue. It's literally in your head. Like, I understand what he means when he says it's not, when he says, oh, a real challenge. By real, I'm assuming he means physical, and I think that's a charitable. It is a charitable interpretation of what he says, but I also think it's a fair one. You know, when somebody says like, oh, you know, when you have to deal with a real problem, it's like it means a physical problem. Like, you know, when you have to overcome a physical challenge, the mental part of it doesn't really. It can often just kind of, you know, fade off. That's why, you know, like exercise is a big part of improving your mental health, because you're focused on fixing a physical problem. I don't know. It made sense to me, but let's see where
real
we are here.
challenges. You know, light that fire, or you're going to
So
get
mental
cold.
health is not a real challenge?
Mental health is a real challenge, but it's a very different challenge. It's a
so?
very internal challenge.
Okay.
But if I give people external issues to deal with,
Okay, and he clarifies, like, I didn't mean real and not real. I meant internal and external. So whatever. I'll use your correct definition of words.
light that fire.
So
or
you
you're gonna
believe
get
that
cold.
mental health is as simple as providing somebody with external stimuli?
Apparently it is in some cases. He's literally telling you, you know, I've had people who have depression and anxiety, and this dissuades those, you know, negative impulses.
It's far from simple, but what I do can help. And I've
Okay.
seen it help a lot of people.
Well, I admire you, but I think you're a salesman capitalizing on people's fears. Let's bust it.
I don't know what this chick's problem is. Like, he just came in here and he's like, oh, the question. Okay, so here's the progression of the conversation. How often do you prepare for the end of the world? Oh, I actually do it for a job. Oh, you capitalize on people's fears? I also help people. So mental health isn't real. Like, it's just, I don't know why she hates him so much after he said he has a job. The dreads might answer that question, but
The next question.
Oh my God! Do you want to sit here? Jeez.
Nah.
Right. Okay. No, I understand what you're coming from, but you know that means everyone's capitalising on something. You're here today.
I'm capitalising
wanna
on
support
free
yours?
KFC, innit? I just wanted the vegan burger, that's it.
that's still profit. It doesn't matter if it's. That's the weird thing. The money step for people is a weird step for people to take. They'll be like, no. I wasn't. They can't buy me. You know, they can't just give me money. Food, however, or, you know, reviewers on YouTube who were like, no, they didn't bribe me. They just gave me stuff. Like, I don't know. It's a weird step for people. They don't realize, like, money is not a goal in and of itself. Money is a step to something. You know, when I get my check, you know, when it comes in and I check on my banking account, I'm not like, yay, more money. It's deeper than that. It's like, oh, I have more resources to work with now, and it can get me stuff. You know, I don't know. I don't really understand. Like, you're still. She came here. I really do think they got paid to be on this show. I don't see how they couldn't have. Video only got like less than 3,000 views, but I have to imagine she was paid to be here. This show is marketing for KFC. I really don't think they just gave people like a sandwich and were like, here, move move along. But I have to imagine she was paid to be on this show. And if not, surely she gets paid to do something. I mean, maybe she's unemployed, but like, everything is capitalizing on something, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I have a certain set of skills, and I use those skills at my job to perform a task, and they pay me to do it, and, you know, everyone's happy. I don't understand the problem here.
So, question for you, Remy, first of all. What are some of the world's events that you are prepping for?
So for me, it's a change in life as we know it. Like, as I mentioned earlier.
That's not an answer. What change are you preparing for? I'm preparing for a change. Like
The over-reliance on science and technology, pushing the earth too far. So just practicalities, thinking about things from a medicine point of view, from a technology point of view in terms of how I'd keep in contact, an infrastructure point of view, how I'm going to keep warm, how I'm going to keep fed, and also how I'm going to...
That sounds like the same thing the other guy does. How am I going to keep warm? How am I going to get fed? Oh, I'm going to make a fire. I'm going to hunt. I'm going to trap. I'm going to fish. I don't know what the argument is here.
Think about the next steps of what my life would look like in that normality of what it's become.
Do you believe that you're going to live long enough to see this unfold?
I'm not entirely sure, because things have happened in my lifetime that I've really thought, oh my God, this is the end. So in a word, no, I don't believe I'm going to.
9/11 and coronavirus. I think those might be like the only two. I don't know how old she is, but like, it's a really weird thing to say, is that several things have happened in your lifetime to make you think it's the end of the world. I don't think I've ever in my life had a feeling that it was the end of the world. I've had near-death experiences, and even like, you know, a dream or two where it's like, oh, we're in the apocalypse now, but I've never had a deep feeling of like, oh, this is the end of the world. So for someone to say they've had that feeling on multiple occasions, it does make me worried for them a little bit.
I live long enough.
So why are you prepping for it?
Because at the end of the day, it's better to be prepared than know, right?
Well, not if you don't think you'll live long enough.
Let me ask you this question. If you're going to a girl's house, you're not sure if you're going to score or not. You do take a condom with you, right? In hope.
This man doesn't. Never. Not once. Look at him. Look at him. He knows. He's like, not once. Not once.
Do you?
Been in a relationship for 8 years.
He's not cheating on you. And I have siblings as well, so it's the example I set. So if they outlive me and then they live in those circumstances, they know exactly what to do, because they're a
She's not gonna have kids.
mirror image of me.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So you're passing on the knowledge.
Of course.
What are some of the world events that you are prepping for?
So human beings, all of us, have the same basic requirements. Now, you can bring it down to the rule of 3. So you can live for 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, as a basic rule of thumb. From my perspective, I think the most crucial thing that we have to worry about at the moment is loss of power, so grid down situation. So something that's always interested me, Carrington.
I think I could maybe agree with that. I don't think it's gonna be like, oh, nuclear war, now we all have to live underground. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. Like, the energy crisis gets to a point where we're just like freaking out, like, guys, we may just run out of power. And I could see something going wrong to the point where we're like, oh, no more electricity. Then I do wonder what happens then. Like, do we all just get little cranks to start making our own electricity? I mean, do we legitimately get to a point where we're just like, okay, there's no more oil. Good luck. the government just does like an announcement on TV. Just like, my fellow Americans, we're out of oil. You warned us. We didn't listen. So good on you. Bye. And then they just leave, and the riots start happening.
An event, solar flare, which would be essentially the same as something like an electromagnetic pulse weapon.
Yeah.
And
there's a book where that happened that I read when I was a kid, and for the life of me, I have never been able to figure out what this book is called. I don't think I've ever Googled it, so maybe that's just on me. There is a book where, like, oh, there's a big solar flare, and the only way that their cars work is they have like the old like 1920s cars where you just like turn a crank and it's steam. But I don't actually know if that's possible. I've never looked into the whole solar flare thing, because people say that all the time, like, oh, a solar flare could wipe out electricity as we know it, and I don't know how that works, but it's a thing that could maybe happen.
it would fry all our electricity grid over a specific area. It could be a very wide area, maybe the whole of the northern hemisphere, or maybe just one country. It depends really on the intensity of it. But if it happens, it would send us straight back to a pre-industrial era.
But you're both going to be all right, because you're both smart enough to prep.
I like to think so.
In a very similar way, but still very slightly different.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't
what we should
understand
do,
any of the
obviously we can't
differences.
shake hands at the moment, but if you would like to grab this side of the bucket, and if you'd like to grab that side of the bucket, and if you'd like to shake bucket. There you go, guys.
That's the weirdest thing I've done all day.
Yeah.
No worries.
Why was she
Thank you very much,
afraid
guys.
of the
Much appreciated for your
bucket?
opinions. It's been great to have you on. We'll see you soon for the next one. Give us a wave goodbye,
Yeah, I
guys.
really don't
See
understand
you
what
later.
their difference of opinion was. I mean, except for her like anti-capitalist weird rant at the end of there, but I really don't understand what that was all about. Yeah, I agree with a lot of these. The wilderness prepper guy. I mean, they were both kind of normal people. Like I've probably had a conversation with this type of person before. You know, not the other people. The other people have been very strange so far, but that's probably why this one doesn't have as many views. The people aren't as crazy. But yeah, plant-based high proteins, new. Be far more entertaining if it was an hour long. I agree with that. Like I could legitimately sit here just for an hour and watch these people be nuts, man. I would love it. Let's see, did somebody argue against this guy? She has never been outside. JonTron spelled incorrectly right next to each other. This only had, oh wow. A year ago, this only had 489 views. Relax. No, weird. I guess this is after the JonTron bump. I don't know why. This show is really interesting, and I like listening to the people's arguments and discussing them. I think some of them have some interesting views, most of which I disagree with, but it looks like I'm gonna log off for a minute here. Well, not for a minute, for the day. It is the end of the stream. That's what we've come to here. But next week we have the other episode that was featured on the JonTron episode, Secret Societies, Who's Really Pulling the Strings, episode 4. This is going to be really interesting. We're going to cover this next time because my throat is starting to hurt. Rather, has been hurting for a while. So I'm going to call it there. You all have lovely evenings. I hope you all do well in whatever endeavors you seek to perform today. That is the worst ending any stream has